That's true. All right, did I do it? Waiting for that to go green. All right, I think we did it. We did it. All right, we are live. Welcome to Gen Con. This is the Vault Tour Gen Con. This is the first official in-person live BDQ cast. I am CoDameron. I'm here with my co-host Kiramode. Currently, Kiramode is what? What are you, 3-0?
3-0.
All right, Kiramode is 3-0 at this Vault Tour right now. We're going into round 4. We have had a ton of technical issues, but as far as I understand it, I think we're back. I think we're on. I think we're live, and I'm excited to be casting this next round. So, just for anyone who's just tuning in, which should be everybody, I need to. Round 4 is about to start. I need to grab a player, and we're all doing this, fly by the seat of our pants. But we got this.
It might take like 15 minutes to actually get to the next round because they do this thing where they post the standings first to make sure everybody got their wins, and then after that they post the pairings. So it might take maybe a little bit of a delay.
So right now we are hanging out. We might do some interviews. We might talk to some people. I'm going to be going off and online for a little bit. I will make another post when round 4 starts, but I'm not going to shut down the stream because we got a good thing going here, right? Internet's great, power's on, the lights are green. So thanks everyone for tuning in. We will be right back. All right, welcome back, everybody. I am here. I am CoDameron. I am here with, what was your name again?
Alec.
Alec. I'm here with Alec from Team Reapout. We have a game. I'm all excited about it. Let's talk about this in a minute. I have some names to update. This is Jacobic. Can you return this to the man at the brown mat and get the one in the blue? All right. We are starting this stream. This is round 4. This is my buddy Freddy, and not AJ. This other gentleman's name is Matt. I'm going to update his information in a moment. And Freddy, for those of you who may remember, was on my stream with Cav. Cav and Freddy are buddies from Atlanta. Cav won the Atlanta sealed Vault Tour. So we are here seeing how well Freddy does in the same environment.
Yeah, like, so it'd be nice, but I don't require anyone to do it.
All right, we have Freddy and we have Matt. We are ready to rock and roll.
Huge fan of that deck name.
Right? All right, this is property. This is Gencon. Excellent. All right. So, real quick, let's just talk about this 1 second.
Sure.
All right, ready to rock and roll. Let me make some announcements. How about Alex? You introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, I am Alec Velasco of Team Reapout. My online username is HatterM if you ever see me floating around on the internet. Yeah, so I don't know if CoDameron here explained, but we both got here very slightly too late this morning and we're not allowed to play in this event, so we're making the most of it.
You know what? We missed the cutoff, but we are here now streaming and talking about it. So Freddy rocking a Sanctum Brobnar diss list that says big beefy bodies if he's doing it right. And then Matt is
Probably
rocking
some grunt boogies in there.
Matt is rocking a Mars Shadows Sanctum. So more steel, more control. I think that if Freddy wants to do well, he has to really leverage those big bodies. Baron McGivern is a great turn 1 play for that.
Yeah, those are the 3 houses that have the most key cost cards in them, so there's a solid chance that he'll be trying to make his opponent forage for ludicrous amounts of amber.
The Hypno Beam, actually great in this matchup when you're sharing a Sanctum house.
Yeah, you actually use the thing he stole.
But he turns, he played 2 cards, I think, and passed. Get an amber, play Hypno Beam. Seems a little strange. I don't love it, but this is just posturing right here.
Do a whole lot for him.
We see the Flamewake Shaman. We see a bunch of damage coming down. And I think at this point we're just trying to stream through our deck, right?
Right. Trying to get something out on the board for sure. It seems like both of these decks are going to want to have a decent board presence.
Yeah, so remember that the plan in Sealed is just to make sure that you're getting more value than your opponent, right? Your deck probably isn't fine-tuned like you want it to. You just need to make sure that you know what your win condition is.
Yeah, definitely. It's when you're playing in Seal, you have to deal with a lot more bricks that you just really don't want to have to draw, and you kind of got to think about how best you'll get through those to get to the cards that you're actually wanting to play.
So Matt choosing to fight. It looks like they're going for a board presence type game.
For sure.
I don't mind it. It's still just posturing. I want to know what the win conditions are in these decks, and I think I see one here. I really like the War Chest as a win condition for a.
We have a
Bravo
Maverick
list.
standardized testing in Dis.
Oh,
that's exciting.
I thought it was a pain reaction. I love seeing Mavericks and Legacy cards
Right?
in a sealed event.
And that was a very effective standardized testing there.
And you see, this is just which tools are going to win out. neither of these players are really pushing for Amber, which
Yeah.
I guess that's how AOA normally works. You're not really racing as much as a Coda sealed event would.
Right. From what I've heard, it seems like the Drummer Not Ganger Chieftain combo has been the biggest Amber rush showing up today, which looks like Freddy could possibly have it, but no Brobnar and Matt's deck.
He could have that, or they could both have the Grey Rider effect. Matt coming in with the Little Nif, making that Lemindra and that Bad Penny actually look great. Little Nif says fight to steal. Oh, that's actually not great. I guess against a Tesmol, which is elusive already, that's fine.
Right, well, having Little Nif on the board is a pretty big threat, so what's nice about Little Nif is that the effect happens even if the creature dies while it's fighting, since it's an ability on Little Nif rather than on the creatures themselves fighting. So here you could use that Bad Penny to fight to steal an Amber and then just put it back down on the board, and it doesn't really matter that it dies.
It's not just granting the keyword.
Yeah.
Oh.
It says each time, I think the text is, it's whenever a creature next to Little Nif fights, steal one.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's much better on Bad Penny than I had expected. And then you can throw her down next to the Lemindra on the other side.
Yep.
Okay, I'm a fan.
Yeah, that Little Nif staying on the board is pretty big deal, I'd say.
Okay, so
if he can manage to go Shadows again before it dies.
Freddy does have that 4 Amber. He keeps them on his keys, and I think he'll probably push them towards the next key once he hits that 6. Ooh, so Matt plays Gromid. I am not a fan of this card. Gromid says you can't play other creatures, but he does cool things when he fights.
And maybe he has a way in his hand to get rid of it.
Oh.
It's the kind of thing I wouldn't play unless I had a plan for it.
Freddy just goes for the coward's end. Lets Matt, doesn't put Matt under that Gromid. Is that a good play? I think that's a fine play.
Yeah, I mean, he did have 5 creatures out, and like I said, if he was able to go Shadows again, the steal was going to start to get pretty significant there.
That's a Grumpus Tamer. So I think now we're all going to, I'm going to be looking for those War Grumpuses. Those, they help you fight with other giants, neighboring giants.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember the ability.
But the Grumpus Tamer tutors them, and then, so Matt has to figure out, does he need to kill this Grumpus Tamer immediately? I think with the Gauntlet and the War Chest on the board, now Freddy actually has an engine that he's trying to set up.
Right. I'm not sure I follow playing that Bad Penny back down. It seems like, especially when the opponent is going to be so focused, and there's the reason for the Bad Penny.
Yeah, I think you're right that you can't play the penny here.
Hopefully he discards it now.
No.
Is there another one coming? Maybe he has a plan for it, but with an opponent so focused on getting so much benefit from fighting, seems like you're just chaining yourself to keep putting that Bad Penny back on the board.
Even worse than that, it's giving your opponent War Chest value.
Right.
Right now you can't efficiently fight into Gamgee, so War Chest is not going to do a ton. But now that Gauntlet War Chest has the target in the Bad Penny, which, I don't know, is Matt trying to get hit? Matt is holding right now, I don't know if you saw this, he held a too much to protect, and he also has a doorstep in his hand.
Yeah, seems like he's trying to play a real long game here. Maybe he's looking out for that Drummer Not Ganger Chieftain combo. That could also be a reason why he'd put the Bad Penny down, but I don't know that it's worth playing that far around such a particular combo.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm always I'm partial to actually pitching those cards and playing them for the Amber. I think if you're holding the doorstep, which he is, you should be playing the Too Much to Protect on your Shadows turn.
Right. You really don't need to be saving both because, like, they're serving roughly the same purpose.
Right, and honestly, Too Much to Protect is a pro play with the Skeleton Key on the board. It really makes the value of that Skeleton Key astronomical.
Having both Skeleton Key and the Gamgees survived a couple turns now, so it's definitely...
He plays Life for Life before reaping with Penny, I think. I didn't see a reap. That might have been a misplay? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like just a missed reap.
Yeah, I didn't see the reap.
Too bad.
And he puts it back down again.
I mean, that's part of his game plan.
I guess so.
Is it 5 now? Okay.
It's at 6, so the Gamgee gained 1 and stole 1.
Right.
So that staying on the board is pretty significant. That's something that Freddy's definitely going to want to be getting rid of.
That may be why he didn't reap?
Didn't want to go too high? I guess so.
I don't know. I guess the sequencing could have been a little bit better.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's anything that Freddy could have that would really punish.
How do you
going too
feel?
high.
How do you feel about putting the captured amber on the Gamgee? I think that's the right play.
I guess the Ronnie wrist clocks wasn't down yet by the time he captured it.
No, like in a perfect world, I still put it on the Gamgee.
I think so. I always try to spread it out as much as possible, just because if they do have, I don't know, a Nerve Blast or something, it's putting it on such a weak creature, especially since Gamgee itself is a pretty significant target. It really just provides them a lot of value out of removing just one creature, whereas if you're putting it on across a couple creatures, or even just putting it all on the Ronnie wrist clocks, they're having to destroy what is now just a 2-power creature that isn't doing anything since the play effect already happened.
Well, the reason I like the Gamgee is I like the elusive, right? And
That definitely helps.
here we go. You see, this is why I didn't like the bad penny play, because now we got 2 fights into a war chest that is full value, and this is also why I put the amber on the Gamgee. Okay, he gets punched, didn't matter, but you couldn't fight with the gauntlet, with the creatures on
It'd be
board
less
into the
efficient,
elusive.
for sure.
He had to have the punch, which he did. Is that a
Yeah,
pound?
yeah.
It's a pound. Pound. Very different than punch. But Freddy threatening to forge his first key.
But Matt getting his first key, so this is very neck and neck. The board is totally empty, which is kind of rare to see for AOA seal.
Oh, I disagree. This board is ripe. Look at Freddy's hand. It's 5 discards. He's been playing Brobnar for a little while now. He's gonna be. He's got this infrastructure down. They both have keys and amber positioning threat. And this is not just a fresh game. This is
Right.
a very well developed game.
Seems like now's the time to play that too much to protect if it's
But
gonna
you
get
can't-
any value.
But you can't get skeleton key. He's
Well,
gonna.
I don't. If he has a Shadows creature in there, he has bad penny.
He has bad
if
penny.
he really wants to do that.
Okay, so he goes with the doorstep. So the turn could have been bad penny, too much to protect, and then skeleton key
Yep.
for 2 amber and a capture, or the doorstep for a 3 amber loss. I think that's a better play.
Yeah, I like this turn more because then there's a solid chance that Freddy will end up going even higher than 8 if he's starting at 5. It definitely makes
that's
it
a
more
really good-
dangerous for him to try and generate amber this
I
time.
really like that point because Matt still thinks that Freddy's not going to go to 6. He has to go to at least 7 because he's looking at a skeleton key,
Right.
right? But Matt has essentially chained himself by holding on to that too much to protect for so long. At least he's getting value out of the doorstep. So
Yeah, I mean, it seems like holding on to those has really. He gained a lot of ground, I feel, on that turn by having those. So, I don't know. It's a tough choice. I found that in AOA Sealed, I've been holding on to cards a bit more than I would have in Call of the Archon Sealed, just because there seem to be more cards that can really totally swing a game. Something like having a Coward's End when it really matters, or having that too much to protect can really make a big difference.
also, you have fewer tools.
Yeah,
Your
definitely.
tools are much less consistent, so having them in your hand is the most consistent place to put them.
Absolutely.
So he exhumes for the Sir Marrows, which I think was just the biggest body he had down there.
Yeah, I guess so.
And then Misery Exploit just because. Freddy's just playing out his 5 cards. I don't know what that 5th artifact is. Maybe we'll see it. It's got a lot of words on it. But we'll find out.
Yeah, I don't think I can read it.
But sure, I mean, definitely his turn is play 5 cards that are purple. That seems like a great turn to me.
Yeah, you don't have much choice at that point.
But the
Just gotta get rid of him.
The Exhume was a choice. I saw he had a streak. I saw he had the Grumpus Tamer still in there.
Sure.
But I think the Grumpus Tamer is the only other option I would consider.
He may also, I've not been counting, but he may also just have more Sanctum cards left in his deck, at which point it's a good idea to bring out a Sanctum creature that he can then use to Reaper fight. Rather than if he's played more Brobnar, it's less likely that he'd be able to use that creature as soon as possible.
That top artifact is a Library of the Damned, which,
Okay.
you know, it's another card. It's not like it's an orb. It'll get value for him. But
Yeah,
I
definitely.
want to give a quick shout out in the chat to Captain Cav. Cav is Freddy's buddy. They're both from Atlanta.
Nice.
Cav, the winner of the last Coda sealed event in Atlanta.
Very cool.
And Cav here repping his hometown, and Freddy actually repping BDQ. He's got a BDQ mat, which I'm super hyped to see. Okay, so how much did Freddy go up to on that turn? Was it 7 or 8?
I don't think I saw.
Okay, so he had a bunch, but we did see Matt doing the skeleton key, too much to protect play, not in that order, other order. But what I really like about this is, since he went with the Sanctum turn first, It
That
means...
penny just keeps going back to his hand.
Well, since he did the Sanctum turn first, he has to put the Amber on Sir Meros,
Sure.
which is much different than putting it on the penny.
Absolutely.
So that's a really good argument for why you would play the Sanctum turn first. Also, because you play more cards. I'm sure if
Play
you're
more
looking
cards.
at those cards, it makes a lot of sense. But we have that's another Sanctum turn out of Freddy. Okay, he's gonna stop the Forge on that Obey the Grim,
Yeah.
and he chooses to fight with the Sir Meros, and then play the Blinding Light, and then play the Grey Rider to unstun him. That is excellent sequencing by Freddy.
Yeah, definitely.
That's how you need to play that turn, because if you're playing Sanctum, you're gonna lose that efficiency on your Amber, on your Blinding Light.
So I'm guessing here Matt is having to make a choice between letting his opponent have that key, or in which case he can probably play his most efficient turn, or stopping him, but likely not playing as many cards. He does have that skeleton key down, so he can stop it. Looks like he's gonna go for it.
It's the Shadow's turn. That means he's gonna stop it. And Freddy, I feel a little bit bad because Freddy's sitting at this 6 Amber mark that he just can't get over the hump.
Right.
And really, this is not Freddy's fault. This is Matt's good play. Matt has been holding those answers for the longest time, and Freddy might think that he just drew them, but no, Matt has been crafting this sequence of turns, and the fact that Freddy hasn't forged yet is the reward that Matt gets for chaining himself for so long.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's really paying off, I would say.
I will say I'm still not quite sure why that bad penny keeps coming back down onto the board.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Does the bad penny need to get discarded at some point?
It's been put back in his hand 4 or 5 times now. That is a very nice 3 fates for him.
Yeah, there's a lot of 4s on the table, so it gives Freddy a lot of freedom to kill whatever he felt like. Certainly not killing bad penny, of course, on that.
He's got other ways to do that.
But he has the Lash in the library, so that library is fantastic additional value.
Yeah, it seems like Freddy's finally getting to a board state where he's able to make up some of this distance between them.
That was a 6-card turn with the Yerk.
Yeah.
And now he's going to shuffle, draw 6, which is only one of them is old. It's a full fresh 7 if you count the archive card, and that's not the case for Matt because Matt has been not cycling his decks nearly as efficiently. He's been holding those cards.
Definitely.
So
I'm sure right now Matt's probably looking for a way to get some of that captured Amber back, because there's a whole key sitting on the other side of the board if you can just get rid of those guys.
well, looking at the board, Freddy's finally got his infrastructure down. He's got all 4 of those really good artifacts. Those are some quality artifacts to have,
Definitely.
especially in sealed.
Yeah.
And now that Freddy's going back through his deck, he's going to find all those Brobnar cards again. Did we see any of the War Grumpuses?
I don't think we did, and I'm not quite sure what happened to them. There's one in his hand.
Okay, so maybe there's only one. You can.
Yeah.
I think you can
Now he
tame.
just drew a second one.
Okay, so we found both of our War Grumpuses, and the Coward's End. I wouldn't want to play that.
Yeah, I don't think that would be a good move for him
Oh,
right now.
you know what he's gonna do? Watch, he's gonna Gauntlet to put damage on his Obade, and then he'll use it.
Right.
And then if Sir Meros dies, the Soul Keeper will get the Merrick the Marked.
Well, so at the moment, what's tough is that since Obade has 1 armor, he actually can't get a damage on him unless he fights against that Merrick, which he won't survive that fight. So
Freddy's in the tank.
it's a tough position.
This was an important draw. I think this is one of the more important turns for Freddy. Why didn't he forge?
Maybe there was a miasma.
It might have been a miasma, it might have been a misplay, but it's... Nope, there it is. There goes the
okay.
forge. These things happen. I almost forgot
Been
2
there.
forges in the top 16. It was a whole thing. It's the automatic thing, you know?
It happened, which vault? The Chicago Vault Tour happened in the final?
Oh, wow. Yes, okay, so he discards the Coward's End, which I don't mind.
Yeah,
I mean,
think that's the move.
we've killed the bad penny so many times already.
Right. I'll say the ambassadors can really be
Oh, I like
very
this
valuable
play.
if they survive.
I didn't consider that play. He uses the War Grumpus to fight into the Merrick the Marked, because the other
Sure.
cards are more valuable. He doesn't
Definitely.
want them to die. And the War Grumpus is expendable. It says it fights with giants, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
works really well.
I'm a fan of that play. Go Freddy.
And he's got that ambassador on the board, which is really great efficiency, but it looks like his hand is full of Mars cards, so
It's been a
I
while
don't
since
really get to use it.
Matt hasn't played a Mars turn in ages.
Yeah, I had honestly forgotten Mars was in this deck until he played the Mars ambassador.
Okay, so let's pause a second. Let's take stock. We're even again.
Yeah, they are neck and neck once again.
I think the advantage has to go to Freddy here, not only because the artifacts on the table, but the fact that he's cycling through his deck already.
Yeah, I think those artifacts really do make a big difference, and yeah, he's got all his resources back in his deck. And because he has those artifacts, it means that he will continue to cycle faster through his deck because that's 4 cards that are out of the 36.
Huh. Okay, there's Mars Needs Amber. That's a very good card. It's Mars Needs Amber for 1, which goes in the Merrick the Mark, stacks them up to 4 Amber. And I guess if you look at the pure Amber count, Matt is ahead by a little bit more if he can kill that Merrick the Mark, which he
Right.
will. He will one day.
Yeah, well, since that is Obeyed, he's definitely, there's a little bit of pressure to destroy it before Freddy can start reaping with it and just discarding that Amber.
Do you see this again? Freddy has another huge Dis House. I think he's coming out with better hand streaming, and he might just be drawing a little bit better.
For sure.
But, I mean,
Ooh.
on the other hand, Matt has been keeping that penny around. And,
Right.
you know,
That's a really nice pain reaction there, for sure.
I really like how Freddy is playing to the board instead of to his Amber,
Yeah.
right? It really feels like Matt is holding all of his Amber tricks for the right time and playing his cards as they are most efficient, and Freddy's playing more cards more often.
Yeah, and it seems like Freddy has a decent number of tools to get through the deck quickly, so things like the Grumpus Tamer tutoring for Grumpuses. He's got 4 artifacts that are out already. He's got the Yurk, he's got his Library of the Damned to archive stuff. It seems like he's just got more tools to be able to play to the board and just keep moving through his deck.
I certainly value a high deck manipulation value in a sealed event.
Yeah, it's interesting because it can make things that might seem kind of mediocre, like a deck where you feel like, well, there isn't a ton of Amber generation in here, a ton of Amber control, but if you're cycling through it faster, then it essentially counts as more Amber control because you're playing more cards more often. So it can definitely make kind of subpar values be a lot more valuable.
Do you like that play where he archives his last card before playing the Yurk? That was slick. That was slick,
Definitely.
Freddy. Okay, so I think Matt is
Zoomed that charade.
I think Matt is behind here, right?
Yeah, definitely.
What can Matt play or draw to come back? The first thing that comes to my mind is the Spirit's Way.
That was the same card I was going to say. Would definitely be... Oh, Be Gone!
Be gone!
What
That says either gain 1 Amber or nuke all disc creatures. And here, that gets his 3 Amber back from Charette.
Definitely helpful in this matchup.
Wow.
I'm sure his eye is still on that Obeyed. If he can get that 4 back, that'll be a pretty big deal, but doesn't seem like he's had an opportunity to do so yet.
I'm sure we'll see Matt use that skeleton key again, and I'm really interested to see if he puts it on the Obeyed or on the Beambuck run.
Right.
They have the same stat line. Obeyed does get rid of it for you, though. But he's not going to reap 4 times.
Right. Ooh, and there's a Hadros wall down now, so those guys are getting beefier. So it seems like Matt is starting to recover a bit on the board, and if he can establish a good board presence, I think that would be a potential route he could take to...
Is Freddy ahead? I tend to like Freddy's board, but I'm not looking at the number of Amber that is just raw on the table.
Yeah, I would say Freddy's a little ahead, but it's definitely close right now. I'd say Freddy's got those artifacts that are having a pretty big impact, and looks like the total Amber on the board, including captured, is roughly equal between the two of them.
Okay, Matt's drawn Exterminate. I love this card. It nukes a unit, an upgrade, and an artifact or something, and Freddy has all of these things. It can get Obeyed, the Soul Keeper, and one of
That
those...
Lash of Broken Dreams, probably not a bad idea to get rid of.
I'm looking at the Gauntlet, but Lash is probably right. Okay, let's see what the choices are here. This is an important choice. Okay, there's the upgrade, which is
That's pretty obvious.
it's a lesser used point, but like it's relevant here.
Make a big difference.
Takes the Lash.
Especially
Okay.
if an opponent has a Collar of Subordination, Exterminate becomes fantastic unless you get your creature back.
A lot better.
All right, so he's finally gotten that what was now 3 amber off of Obade because he did get to reap once. So he's now presenting check himself. But the question is, will he be able to stop Freddy from forging this key?
And is he ahead? I still can't say yes. Ooh, that's a bold move. I don't do that. I take Agatha the traitor here. You can't let Freddy keep Agatha the traitor. You have to fight it with the beam buckler or something.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's gonna give you the library probably, and then steal 2 amber, and it reaps.
I think since both of those houses are not in Matt's deck, so giving him those artifacts will be a pretty big bonus.
So Matt choosing to reap here, which oh, you know what? He did choose Sir Marrow's, so we can reap and not get captured on.
Sure.
That's a part of a reason why he did that. So Freddy does forge.
So Matt gave up that key there.
See that Coward's End? Freddy's flashing a Coward's End.
Ooh.
That's huge. That's gonna,
that would.
It's gonna bring him right back. Interesting.
Yeah, that is definitely not what Matt wants to see right now after painstakingly
But
pulling ahead a little advantage on board.
But watch this. Freddy's gonna get maximum value out of this by reaping with the War Grumpus, getting the Amber, and then using the Groke to... I think the War Grumpus should be stunned, but Groke is gonna fight. There's the stun. Groke's gonna fight. He's going to get the Amber. He's gonna get the Amber lost from Groke and the Amber gained from the War Chest. Yes. And he's gonna fight in such a way that he doesn't die but take damage. Perfect parity to get value out of the War Grumpus, which you haven't seen yet. We haven't even seen that yet.
Yeah.
These War Grumpuses have just been 3s that you can search for if you feel like it.
Alright, so he used the Gauntlet to fight again with Groke. Seems like he might not be planning on playing the Coward's End then, since he went to all the trouble to fight. Does give him War Chest value.
War Chest value is good. And he really wants to... Okay, so here's what Freddy's doing. The reason he did that is to be at 6. But he could have used Baron to fight instead.
So, I love this play. So he's using Pound to put damage on his own creatures before he plays the Coward's End, so that it's a one-sided board wipe.
Amazing. I think
that is a beautiful play for sure.
There might be a little bit more parity you can get with that, but I don't really care. I think if you fight with Baron instead of losing your Groke, you get a little bit better out of that.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not upset. That's a great play.
He's up to 7 for his 3rd key, so Matt's got to have something on top of that skeleton key. He's gonna stop Freddy from taking the game right now.
That Flamewake's gotta ping somebody. Who are you gonna ping? Himself? Maybe. Kills the
Grumpus. It was stunned.
Okay.
But yeah, I feel like hitting itself would probably be the best choice.
And Freddy knew he had to be at 7.
Right.
Because of the skeleton key. And Matt has shuffled. So that his Amber control tools are back in play.
He has that. Yeah, the Too Much to Protect or the Doorstep would be...
Oh, the Miasma. It was that Miasma from earlier, and he's holding the Too Much to Protect.
Yeah, that's a great combo to have.
This is rough for Freddy. He's not going to play that Too Much to Protect. He might not even use the skeleton key.
Sure, yeah, he's going to wait because if Freddy gains any more Amber this turn, that's just going straight to Matt.
Okay,
when he plays the Too Much.
Here's the big brain question. Are you supposed to use skeleton key? Because right now Matt is telegraphing that he has the answer.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he just figured it'd be so easy to kill the bad penny that it wasn't even worth it, but yeah, it seems like he should at least use it. There's no disadvantage to using the skeleton key.
Well, the reason that yeah, I guess there's not. No, the disadvantage is if the penny doesn't die, you steal fewer Amber.
Right.
When it comes back around to your time to use Too Much to Protect.
That makes sense. And it's possible that to Freddy that came across as him just forgetting to use it, so it may not have been...
Oh, Freddy reaped on Agatha just to get an Amber, but I think you have to use that effect. Do you have to use that effect?
I think it's an action ability. Actually.
No, it's a reap ability, but is it a May?
So he's giving him the War Chest, gaining 2 more Amber. This is going to be a pretty...
Stealing 1, he only had 1. But that's a big deal.
But that Too Much to Protect is getting more and more powerful.
Honestly, if he just doesn't mind giving him the library, then it's not. If he has to play...
Steal 2 back, yeah.
Matt's turn, he hasn't been hand streaming, so his hand is probably Penny, Too Much to Protect, Skeleton
Same bad
Key.
Penny.
No, and then pass. If Freddy just decides to go Oh look, and there's even that Amber on Baron. He stole the one before the Agatha. He could have been stealing another. But Matt's whole turn is over now. That was his whole play. He held it, and now Freddy can just do the same thing again with the Sanctum turn.
I don't think Matt has a way out of this. It would take
the doorstep. Yeah,
I guess so, but he'd have to be able to doorstep and find a way to generate some Amber in a turn too. I guess he has a free markets. One of them has a free markets? I think it might be Freddy that had the free markets though.
What's going on here is they're remembering that Penny was actually a 3 because of Hedroth's wall. So Freddy's Baron is taking 2 more damage. It's a minor thing, but they're fixing the board state. I love it.
It has been down for a while. I wonder if that's made a...
It has, because it was a Cowards. It came down kind of late. Cowards End made it a thing. It made it not matter. But I want to see if Freddy chooses to go Sanctum again and uses Agatha the Traitor to get back that Amber he lost from too much to protect.
Right, and he's got the Sir Marrows in hand. Oh, but he's going to discard it to capture with Mega Man.
I don't mind that play. Here we go. Gain an Amber.
No, it's... I don't know if I'd do it just because at this point, Freddy is invested in making sure that Matt can't, stumble across the finish line just before he does. And I feel like putting down the Sir Marrows makes it so that Reaping can no longer give him the Amber benefit. And for me, it feels like that is more valuable than capturing the one on Mega Man, which already has quite a bit of damage on it.
Huh. I like Freddy's play. I like the way Freddy's play. I think there are other lines to take, but I like this line.
It's like Matt's got to have that doorstep, or this is probably the game.
He's had the answer for 2 turns now. He drew the Miasma, and then he drew the Too Much to Protect. But unfortunately, Matt has only been playing that Amber game, and Freddy's had this small but important. I mean, Agatha the Traitor is a really good board state card.
Yeah.
It's a ton of value.
Doesn't look like he's got the doorstep. Making sure there's not anything he can do, but...
Does Matt have an answer? I don't see one. Yeah, it's doorstep or bust, and I don't think he has it. And
I don't see it in his hand.
Matt is doing the right thing here, though, which is being diligent about his play. He's making sure that there's no actual... I think he has a Smite and a Surf. He has a Smite and a Merrick the Marked, which makes him think maybe there's a thing that can happen. Maybe I can steal an Amber.
So he's using the Mars Ambassador.
It's a Smite. He's just fighting. It does 3 damage. It'll do a 2 splash.
Right, so what this lets him do is if there is something in Mars in his hand that can help him here, he can now play that. But I don't know that there is.
He needs to steal more than 1 Amber. So if Freddy was only at 6 or 7, then
Mars needs Amber.
Oh wow, Mars Ambassador is a... Oh my goodness, it's so close.
It is so close.
Because he can get more damage on Freddy's board. He can play Mars needs Amber because Mars Ambassador is Fight Reap.
Yep.
And he had the Shield of Justice to not take damage himself. Matt was actually really close.
Yeah.
But he couldn't get all the way there. Really good game. Congrats to Freddy. He's now 3-1, still alive. Matt is now 2-2. I think that is it for him. I believe that's their record. That might be incorrect, but if it's not, good luck to them. And thanks again to them for being on the stream. I'm gonna try to get Freddy over here for an interview about that game.
Sure.
But Alex, thank you again so much for being around.
My pleasure.
I think I have someone else I want to talk to real quick before Freddy. We have, thank you again, Alex. We got Kiramode. Kiramode, how'd you do?
I got blown out.
You got blown out?
Oh, it was bad.
Talking to the mic.
So start the game, and guy leads off with 3 Brobnar creatures. And it's all right, this is not what I want, but it's not terrible. And so, I play my turn, and then his next turn, he goes into 3 more Brobnar creatures.
That's 6 Brobnar. Did you kill any of them?
No.
Why not?
I don't know. I have smaller dudes. and then I was so then at that point, I just started digging for board wipes.
Yep.
And I can't find them. So at some point, he's sitting on this 6 Brobnar creature board. So he used it to attack and read on 1 turn. Yep. And then he says, all right, I'm not going to call Brobnar, I'm going to call Shadows. I'm like, oh, thank God. Yeah. And then what he does is he plays a couple derps and then plays a little Nif in like the middle of his battle line, and I couldn't deal with it because all my guys were dead.
Yep.
So then I play dudes, and his next turn is I just start suiciding these Grognar dudes into my board to wipe me out and steal 3.
Yeah, because Little Nif does that.
So I was like,
wow.
All right, what can you do, man? Like when you're up against that, you're just gonna get blown out. So
Well, remember, sealed is about board state, something, something? I don't know. Hey, Freddy.
interview time.
All right, Kiramode, you're 3-1 though, so you're still, still alive.
I'm still in it.
All right,
Staying alive.
good luck.
Oh, you want me to?
Yeah. Relax, take your time. Take your time. We're in no rush. All right. Turn in your slip. That's important. Yeah, if he doesn't turn in his slip, he doesn't win. But that's round 4. This is where, the decks start getting real good. Not every deck in Sealed has too much to protect and a doorstep. And turns out it's not enough to carry you sometimes. You have to play them right, you have to not chain yourself, and sometimes you have to play them earlier than you want to. I think the miasma turn was a little risky. I think you could have played that there. So, Freddy, how did that game look from your point of view?
It looked pretty good. Let me.
Yeah. Congrats.
Thank you. Thank
You
you.
you won.
I did.
You're now 3-1.
3-1.
You're still alive.
I'm still alive.
All right.
Yep. So overall, pretty good. There were definitely some misplays where I was beating myself up a little bit.
Really? What were some misplays? We thought that the plays were fairly good.
Overall, yes. There was the Brobnar turn where I had a pound and I fought a couple times and cracked the war chest.
Yep.
I think I could have kept a guy alive on that turn, and I ended up with losing everyone.
What we kept talking about is I think there were a couple efficiency plays that you missed out on. You could have crafted your board a little bit better with the damage, with the Coward's End, with the Merrick the Marked, with just little. There was a lot of effects going on in that game, and you had the game plan in mind. You did the important actions, you did the important reaps, the double plays. You did some plays that we weren't expecting with pitching a Coward's End at one point. And you made choices that game that mattered, and you found lines that game that mattered, and even under the inefficiency plays, you still won. So, what won you that game?
So what I've learned about this deck is the deck has a lot of board control. It's got, for AOA, it's got a fair amount of amber control, and so my plan is really try to build a board. I've got so many ways to keep my opponents from building their own board that it's get the bigger board, get the bigger delta, reap to win. And then hope that the charrettes and the Aubods and such hit at the right time. In this game, it worked out pretty well. Towards the end, I knew that I could get enough amber. What I was really scared about was getting hit with too much to protect, getting hit with the big steal. There were a couple points where I was not sure the right way to go, but you saw at the end. I was just I had the Baron down. I just was discarding Sanctum cards because at that point it wasn't about getting amber. It was just keep him as low as possible while I'm going. It hurt me at one point because it meant I stole less with Anahita, but
yep, we know. That's one of the little inefficiency
So
plays.
that actually worked out better.
I know
because it stayed there instead of going back with the too much to protect.
Yep.
And so again, there were little things where I definitely could have played better, but overall, I think it worked out.
Your game plan was phenomenal. The understanding of your deck was very good, and I thought your pacing of the game itself was also very good. I think that you are. I think you definitely outplayed your opponent that game. I think that your decks were of similar power levels. He had much more big amber plays. I have a question. How long did you put him on those amber cards? He had the doorstep, he had the too much to protect, he had the miasma. How long were you worried about those once you saw them?
To be honest, it was I saw them, and once he's played them once, it's he's got to shuffle at least, right?
Yep.
Or he's got to have some recursion, but he didn't have. I wasn't really worried about recursion. If he had something weird, I don't even know what he would have had. He didn't have Untamed, right?
Yeah.
So it was once he shuffles, okay. Then you could hit me with something. Too much to protect was the scariest one. Doorstep would have hurt too. Miasma obviously sucks, but it was. I'm going to make him have to use those. I'm going to get to 7 or 8. So if he has a Gamgee that he can ready and fight with, or ready and reap with somehow, or something like that, he can get 1 or 2 off me maybe, but I want to still be threatening check If he hits me with doorstep one turn, it happens, but I need to be ready to get back to 6 or 7 ideally, and I need to be ready to keep him off of check. And that was the biggest thing, was not so much getting to check, but making sure that once he had that second key, that I had an answer. And that's what I found with my deck is, once the opponent has 2 keys, I need to have those outs.
You really did have the outs, and we talk a lot about Keyforge, and we talk a lot about how you agree with the cards plus board mentality, how you have to pressure to 6 amber, and I'm excited for you to go back and watch this game and watch how aggressively you play cards-wise. You were ripping through your deck, you were playing cards, you were finding all the efficiency plays compared to your opponent who was holding cards, and we were talking a lot about, well, he held the cards, but they paid off when they did, because he held too much to protect for a little while.
Okay.
And of course you didn't know that, but I
Right.
want to, like, I don't know, throw a chat, a comment or something later, just to say how the game looks differently from a bird's eye view, because I think it's a very different game playing against him than looking at it from where we were sitting.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
You know, it was a very scary and even-looking game from up here, where on the board you were growing more consistently than he was. And I think that you played it phenomenally. I think that he played very well too, but clearly 2 different play styles, and the one that you used was one that we kind of that we talk about a lot.
Right.
So,
Nothing is sacred.
Anyway, nothing is sacred. Anyway, Freddie, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
You are now 3-1, ready for
3-1.
round 5.
Yep.
And yeah, all right. So I'm going to pause the stream. It's going to still be on, but we're going to be right back. I'm going to get set up for more rounds coming up soon. Thanks a bunch.
Cool.
Check, check, check. Yeah, we're here. All right, welcome back. BDQ cast. I am CoDameron again. I am here with Alex, and we're here in round 5. So, Joe and Mark are playing for their lives again because they are both 3-1. And this is an important game for Joe in particular because last tournament at Origins, we had Joe's brother. Oh, I forget his name. Ethan. We had Ethan on stream in the same round, and Ethan lost at 3-1.
Oh no!
So it was a good game. I remember it, but Ethan did lose. So Joe, been a friend of mine for a long time, definitely a friend of BDQ, and he wanted to make sure that if this situation came up and they're in the same spot, that Joe would have a chance to outdo his brother. And who am I to deny him that, right?
I was thinking of it more as avenging his brother, but sure, why not?
Oh no, this is not avenging. This is competition between the two of them. Anyway, let's talk about it. Okay, I see logo shadows something from Mark. I see Brobnar disc logos. Oh yeah, my camera's a little bit wonky. There's a lot of duct tape involved. Don't worry about it. We're getting most of the game here, right? This is all. That's plenty of it.
I think I might see some dis in Mark's hand. I'm not sure.
Yeah, logo shadows disc seems like a good lineup to me.
Alright, so we got a mulligan from Mark.
How do you feel about the mulligan?
I am so afraid of it sometimes. There are certain decks where you can mulligan into such a bad hand and you're just stuck with it after you're one that I feel like when I first started.
Alex from Reap Out. We're live.
Yeah, I feel like when I first started playing, I was like, what? I can mulligan, for basically for free if you're going first. But more and more, I've mulliganed into so many bad hands that
I'm definitely not afraid of the turn 1 mulligan. If I'm going first, you get to mulligan for your favorite card.
Definitely.
I don't mind that. I would keep that as Joe. That's a good turn 1.
Sure.
Stays on the board, hits a bunch of damage.
Yeah, decent threat.
Yeah, we talked a lot about this in the episode on our turn 1 games. How to do a turn 1. Really putting a threat on the board is the best thing that you can do, unless you're putting like the amazing card on the board, like Dust Witch or something.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
A Think Drone.
So yeah, that's a mulligan to 5, and 2 cards with a Think Drone is a little
tough.
rough. It's rough.
There are decks that can make pretty strong use of Vezina Think Drone, but it's a pretty awkward card most of the time.
Notice he held Mars Needs Amber.
I don't know.
No, not Mars Needs. It's Hypnotic Command he held.
Maybe more worth it, but
I think it's if you have Mars guys out, it captures Amber on their side. So
yeah, I think it's for each Mars creature you have, an opponent's creature, choose an opponent's creature to capture 1.
right.
So it's like, so the big thing there is that they don't have to be ready. There are a lot of Mars effects that are for each ready Mars creature, and that makes them really tough to use. But Hypnotic Command is really strong because you can just dump a bunch of Mars creatures on the board and immediately use it and get a whole lot of value out of it.
I think I find it weird holding it turn 1 and a mulligan to 5.
It seems like not going to be quite that worth it.
Ooh, so Mark was lucky enough to draw 2 more Mars cards after his 2 draws. He can kill that Director, which is really too bad for Joe. Mark drew very well and is able to take care of that threat, so too bad.
Yeah, you don't want that sticking around too long. I wonder if I would hope he'll use it to just steal the 1 this turn.
Please use your Mars cards. No? Okay, so he's gonna Reap. Would you archive anything here?
I don't think so.
Nah, I don't see it, unless you're really trying to get Mother Gun value.
Maybe he's got if he has like a key abduction coming, could be a good idea to start building for that.
He tucks the Think Drone, which might be, looking at the Calfine, weird.
Yeah, it had 2 points of damage on it, so it's pretty close.
And he plays the Hypnotic Command, which is the correct play. Please play that card. It's one of the words. They all have very similar but significantly different words.
Yeah, I'll say the last time it was played on me, I also had to grabbed the card to read it because I definitely had forgotten it existed.
But yeah, Mark is drawing cards, and Joe is sticking around with this board. Look at this, a 5-4-6. Bramo's big,
Yeah,
got a
that's-
shield. Like, Joe's got a big deck already.
Yeah,
These
definitely
creatures are
not,
huge.
not anything to scoff at, and especially using Lava Ball to clear the board there.
Lava Ball is such good removal. What is it, 4 with 2 splash?
Yeah,
Very good. And 2 reaps?
yeah. So this is pretty strong start for Joe. We'll see what Mark has to recover here.
And the
And
Ganger.
a Ganger Chieftain, so even more Amber.
So this begs the question, does Joe have the drum or not?
It's possible. I'm sure that's something Mark is pretty worried about now that he's seen the Ganger Chieftain.
I think you have to kill the Ganger Chieftain as quickly as possible, because if you play the drum or not, you just do the combo, right?
Yeah.
Especially with 2 other big fighting beefy boys to support it.
Yeah, that'll be a pretty explosive turn if it happens. So we got an Igor. Mark's probably digging for some sort of answer to what is being presented across from him.
Awesome. We got a lot of support for Mark. I saw him texting his friends right before the game. So thanks,
Good.
Mark, for everything. And
So
and
he-
just to be clear, just because I know Joe does not mean I'm rooting for him. He has to earn this victory.
Sure.
And I want to see Mark. I want to see what Mark's deck can do against such a big board.
Sure. So Mark discarded Life for a Life here, which makes you wonder if there wasn't some even better answer, because that would be a pretty good way to get rid of that Ganger Chieftain, especially with the Hex Peon on the board that you gain benefit from destroying it.
Yeah, I think you have to kill the Ganger Chieftain. But what did he take with the Igor? It was probably a
I didn't
Logos
see what
card.
he took. He didn't play another Logos card after the Igor. I guess maybe he took the Hex Peon or Seismo Tangler, but I don't think either of those are more worth it than.
Might have been the Hex Peon. That's a good point. But yeah, this is us just right now. The choices aren't too hard.
Yeah.
Right now we're just kind of talking about how the positioning goes, and Joe goes Brobnar again because hey, when you got it, you better use it.
Yeah.
He didn't even
No
play
cards
a card.
out of hand, just using that board state.
So I don't really see what's in Joe's hand. There is no Brobnar, but it better be Amber Steel. It better be something worth waiting for, because otherwise
Right.
Joe should be drawing into more cards to find those combos.
Yeah, it's a tough balance to make good use of a board when you are ahead, but also make sure you're still getting through your deck. And it feels like Joe is definitely at the point where he should be trying to move through his deck to make sure he maintains this advantage he's built up.
And Mark is about to play 5 Shadows cards, which it means he's going to draw 5 cards. I think that the drawing 5 cards is better than the playing 5 cards myself. But look at all this value.
There is another Life for a Life. I would bet that he, with that Igor, saw 2 Life for a Lives and decided to keep one of them.
I see.
And he gets rid of the Cowfine rather than the Ganger Chieftain.
So Cowfine does do the most work while he's on board. The other 2 are just play effects, right?
Sure.
And I guess I don't know if Mark isn't afraid. I think he's not afraid of it. He's got to be aware of the combo potential. But, I mean, looking at Bramo and Ganger, oh, you know what just happened there? We totally missed this. Joe is putting Mark in check at 5. He has the Titan mechanic out.
Oh, yeah.
And Mark had the answer. Yeah, Joe is pressuring hard here. Like, he has the option to not have the Titan mechanic on the side, but he kept it there. And look, he keeps it there again.
Right. Can't see how much Amber Mark has right now.
Yeah. Let me go play with the camera just a little bit. Hope I don't cross your fingers I don't wreck it.
So it looks like both of those Schulers stole, so I think he was threatening there. It's a very good response from Joe, able to continue building up that board without just picking Brobnar again and getting those Schuler play effects, which might have been why he decided to go Brobnar to try and see if he couldn't get steals off of those. And the old Yerk, which helps him cycle through his deck a little faster. Yeah, that was definitely a good way to pull that board advantage back.
Actually, Andrew has a good point here. If Joe chooses not to draw cards, then Mark isn't afraid of him drawing the drum or not. But how many cards did Joe just play? 3 or he had the Yerk.
So he played 3, one of which was old Yerk, so he discarded another 2. So got through 5 cards on that turn.
Wow. Okay, so Mark plays more cards. There's Seismo and Tangler doing. Looks like he chose Disc to not Reap, but I'm sure Joe wants to play more Brobner cards. You would think, right?
Yeah, I guess at this point Joe's mostly concerned with just building up this board, although he doesn't necessarily want to play into a potential board wipe. I think it really just depends on what Joe's got in his hand, if it's something that's worth playing right now, or if he'd rather just try and get more amber.
One thing I like from Mark is it seems like Mark knows he has a lot of elusive creatures. He has a lot of creatures that rely on being resilient in that way. Mm-hmm. He had the Mind Warper earlier. He had the Archimedes now. He has the Researcher, Field of the Researcher, and the Bremo does the Cow Find does a lot more work against those guys than even a Gangernaut Chieftain combo.
That's true.
Right? So taking out the Cow Find might have been Mark's way to, because he knows his deck, right? He's been playing it for 4 rounds now.
Yeah, so yeah, it is a good way to protect the Archimedes and the Fila, and to try and capitalize off of this. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a key abduction come from Mark at some point.
Really?
Because he's got a lot of archive potential going on, and I could see that being a major draw to this deck if there is a key abduction that comes with all of that archive potential.
It looks
but
like
who knows?
It looks like Joe chose the deck based on creature size, or at least it cares a lot about creature size, even if they're not, you get little values here and there, but definitely having those big creatures matters. Okay, so yeah, here comes the Pound to do 2 damage to Archimedes and then 1 damage to Fila, and since the damage happens simultaneously, then Fila gets archived.
Dude, there's another Pound. What? Oh, so as the Hex Peon, so it got archived with the top card of Mark's deck.
Yep.
So now Joe can Reap for 2 and present check again this turn.
Interesting. And here comes more big bodies from Joe.
Oh, this
deck is enormous.
And a Smith. Oh, that hurts.
And he's still going to Reap. So if I were Mark, I think that one of the hardest things to do in this game is to call a house on your opponent. I'm talking Deep Probe, Control the Reap, Whispering on Tisk, and here we see Seismo and Tangler. If I were Mark, you have to consider that Joe just played a bunch 5 discards, or 4 discards and discarded a Logos card.
Yeah.
Then he's much more likely to play a Brobner turn going forward, and Mark would need to, and Mark called wrong on the disc call.
Yeah, possibly. Ooh,
it ends
a
up
whole
being
bunch of Mars coming this turn.
Ooh, it's the difference of 2 amber with the Reaps, but that 2 amber might matter. But let's see this big Mars turn.
So
he picks up the archived. Oh no, does he pick up the archived thing, Joe? He probably did before.
Yeah, I think he did pick it up a while back. So as Andrew here said that he doesn't have the key abduction, probably was able to look up the deck on.
It's not live yet.
Oh, is it not?
These decks aren't scanned. But
I think
if he's friends with Mark, he probably knows.
Yeah,
or maybe not.
Potentially.
What if he's wrong? I don't know.
Who knows? But the fact that he did pick up his archive earlier seems to suggest that he's not building for the...
Question. Mother Gun for 5 hits Grok this time. How do you feel about the Grok hit?
I'm not sure. I feel like at this point Mark's just trying to get rid of whatever he can.
Yeah.
Because just that sheer number of creatures is a pretty big issue for him. So I guess Andrew's in a group chat where he confirmed Mark does not have the
but Joe doesn't know that.
Abduction. But Joe doesn't know that, so that could definitely be something that Joe is on the lookout for.
And that's what's crazy about Sealed, is because you don't get to look at deck lists. I mean, we'll be doing the streams for the... we're not looking at deck lists as casters.
Right.
But for the... at least for the finals of the Archon tournaments, I think we might be. Because the players get to... It's a very different mentality of playing into or not playing into things that may or may not be there.
Yeah, definitely. I know one of my teammates has said that the deck he's been playing, so he's actually on the Cascade stream right now. His deck has a too much to protect that he said people have really not been playing around at all, and it's stolen some games for him that probably shouldn't have been able to take.
I don't think you should play around those cards in Sealed. So
it's a tough choice. I feel like too much to protect is the biggest one to consider playing around, because it's not just that you'll get punished for playing into it by generating a bunch of amber, but your opponent will gain a huge benefit from it if you do so.
Yeah, I don't lose because I've gotten stolen from. I lose because they got all that amber too.
Yeah, exactly.
Plus the one on the card. Oh. So Joe makes a very interesting play here, which I kind of like. He plays Binate Rupture without the graft, because he had the graft earlier, he had to play it. He plays
Sure.
Binate Rupture anyway. I think he made himself 2 amber, but he made Mark a bunch.
Yeah, at this point, I think he sees that he's 2 keys ahead. He's just going to try and get across this finish line before Mark can recover in any way. Because he also stole one of Mark's creatures using Harlan Mindlock, killing another one using the Titan mechanic. He's really just trying to stop Mark from being able to gain any traction here.
Yeah, Joe is really putting Mark in a tough spot here. I actually really like that Binate Rupture play. I mean, he had the Cutthroat Research, so it's really nice to have Cutthroat Research.
Yeah, definitely.
And to have the interdimensional graft, and Joe just makes a ton of amber.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he uses the Titan mechanic to fight into the Sky Booster Squadron instead of reaping to 10, which he's probably playing around something. What does Mark have? Well, it could be a Psychic Network. It could be another Hypnotic Command. It could be a lot of things that Mark could have, and they're a lot less strong if you don't have that Sky Booster on the board.
Yeah, I think at that point Joe sees he has 9. I don't know that he feels like his opponent has the ability to get rid of the 3, but does want to make sure that Mark doesn't gain any sort of traction. Because that's the thing with Mars is it doesn't seem like it's doing much a lot of the time until you get a lot on the board and suddenly it's doing a whole lot. Ooh, Ronnie Risk Clocks.
That's the start of
Very
something.
Good,
Does Mark have a miasma? I remember he
gotta
had
have
one
something
earlier.
else.
Nerve
Blast.
Almost there.
One more.
Get the Titan mechanic because it's killable. And look at the numbers on
And the
Joe's.
miasma.
Okay.
So he's bought himself one more turn. And
He uses combat pheromones to also reap with his Mars creatures.
Oh.
I love this play.
so he can archive that Ronnie Risk Clocks using the Vezima Think drone here.
Wow.
Which is a really valuable play that can potentially allow him to keep Joe off that key for one more turn, which, given how much amber he's generating, may be all he needs to get across the finish line.
I'm personally more interested in what he brings back with the Proliferator, but he can't because he has to be on a flank or something. I think Proliferator has to be on a flank, so that's a misplay out of Mark.
Oh, yeah.
He could have gotten Hypnotic Command back.
Well, and it looks like he didn't use the Think Drone's ability.
He could have used it to archive the Ronnie and then proliferate his Hypnotic Command. These are all little things that Mark could have done, but I'm sure he has a reason why he didn't do them. Maybe he has an answer still.
Yeah, who knows?
He does have a bunch of archived cards. 2 of them are Logos creatures, but one of them is the one from the Hex Beyond. We don't know what that is. He's looking at them. There are a lot of cards down there. But Joe is still 2 keys to... he's 2 to 1.
Right, so Mark is definitely... And Mark is about to forge his second key if Joe doesn't stop him here. So Mark has definitely made up a lot of ground. So I think it's just going to be about who can manage to get across that finish line before the opponent. So looks like Joe is mulling over all of the choices he could make here.
I helped them to remember.
Sure.
Thanks, chat. Yeah, I don't know what the next play is. This is actually pretty close. So Joe did put himself into this spot. Remember, he did play the Binate Rupture and expected to be able to get out of this hole.
Yeah.
And I think he's still... I don't think Mark's out of the hole yet. But if Mark can hold Joe off for one more turn, then Joe actually has to find amber control options.
Yeah, it's at this point Joe is still in a pretty comfortable position because he does still have much more of a board presence than Mark, but Mark is definitely starting to get some traction here that he might be able to take to a victory if things go his way.
And Joe's showing an entire hand of is that Street Tesmo?
Yeah,
Gross.
that hurts.
I mean, it doesn't hurt if Joe just wins next turn.
If Joe just wins next turn, but
My question is, will Joe fight or will Joe reap? They're both good options.
So we already got rid of the Umbra, which I think was the biggest issue here. I think if I were in Joe's position, I would just Reap, because you can't use that Proliferator right now, unless he gets rid of the Wrist Fox, which you can do with the Think Drone. So maybe it's worth killing the Think Drone and then just Reaping.
So the Exhume for the Grok, I think there's a lot of options in there. You can see them considering the Harlan Mindlock to steal another creature.
Sure, yeah.
Those are all great targets. Like, Joe has really a quality deck here. Very big creatures, very good strategies. Wow. I think this is close. If Mark can get one more turn out of this game, it's close.
Yeah, it looked like Mark was pretty done for there, but he has gotten some serious traction, and he does have a chance at pulling this out if things go his way.
Okay, so we fight for the Ronnie.
Kills the Ronnie.
Fine.
Looks like he is just going to wipe the board over there.
Yeah, I think not being sealed, that's fine.
Yeah, that's a fine choice.
And also maybe he's playing under the too much to protect. If Mark has too much to protect Ronnie, then Joe will lose. That's why he brings back the Grok to ensure himself for a little bit longer.
And like we said, Joe may be thinking Mark has a key abduction that could be coming, so it's a good idea to get those Mars creatures off the board just in case, since now Mark does have his second key. A key abduction would have the possibility of taking that third key.
Yeah. And Mark has this huge archive. So Joe is not out of the woods.
Not quite.
Okay, but Mark goes Logos and is going for card draw, which tells me that
he's digging for
he's
something.
digging. There's not a lot of Amber control that can get you off a 6 in Logos.
Is it going to be a
Chaos
portal to try and get something to hold Joe off for one more turn?
Shadows? Ew, for Eureka. Oh, and you know what? Mark only had 2 cards in deck. Maybe he could have even known what's in there. Oh, this is rough.
So he's got to get 3 of that Amber away from Joe.
So Igor, looking at the top 3 cards, or 2 cards, discarding the Eureka,
Probably
taking the
a
other
good
one.
move at this point.
And it's Mars needs Amber. Mark probably knew that. He probably called Mars and called the 50-50. And there's 3 damaged creatures on Joe's board.
Sure. So there's a Legacy Dexter coming out on Mark's side.
Wow, the Legacy. That's also relevant.
It's looking like that's it for Mark, though. He can't quite get Joe off of it.
Honestly, hold on. Go ask him what that Chaos Portal was. What he called the Chaos Portal. If he called the Mars, because he knew his 2 cards in his deck, right? It was Mars.
There he is showing his opponent that Mars needs Amber on the bottom. So close.
You call Mars? Yeah, he did call Mars. He knew the 2 cards in his deck. That was so close.
That is
And Joe,
unfortunate.
Joe, unfamiliar with Mark's deck, decides to take creatures off of Mark's board and damage his own creatures.
Damage them.
Plays into the Mars needs Amber, but plays out of the psychic command, the psychic network, or the key abduction, perhaps. That's sealed for you. You don't know what you're playing into, and you have to hedge your bets into the best ones.
Right.
And it was that close. It was a 50-50 shot that we still had a game on. And that's why, to Joe's credit, he brought the Grok back. He has some Amber control. Wow, that was a very close game. Congratulations to Joe. Congratulations to both players. That was a great game.
Yeah, definitely. I thought Mark was pretty done for there, but he really put up a fight there at the end, and it was so close, like you said, down to a 50-50 to get that Hypnotic Command.
Fantastic game. We're going to have them over here in a minute for an interview. Let me go get them.
Well, I am going to go catch up with my team, see how that round went for them, but hopefully I'll be back to commentate round 6, where we will be seeing once and for all who's going to be making it to day 2.
Thanks again, Alex. We're gonna have get Joe over here for an interview, and then we might have you again for round 6. All right, fantastic. It's super nice to have a co-caster who's in the same position as me, as not being able to get into the tournament. It gives me someone else to kind of be sad about we're not in it. But if you're not in it, you can't lose, right? We're both undefeated. And actually, we played each other a little bit, and I got wrecked a little bit. So he's still probably undefeated. We traded a couple games. It was a good time.
Good time.
Joe, come on over. Oh, look at my camera colors. The saturation's all messed up. Let me see if I can just kind of fix this real quick. Joe,
Hi.
what is up?
4-1.
Joe, tell me about that game from your point of view.
So, okay. So I felt relatively good because like one of the things that my deck is pretty good at is controlling the board. It has a lot of big dudes. It has like tons of damage sources, like double Califine, triple pound, lava ball, pain reaction, which I can usually get up because of all the other damage effects. So it's just like it's very good at controlling the board. Puts out and has lots of creatures. Has high creature count, 18 creatures.
Wow.
So anyway.
And your creatures were ginormous. There were so many
they were big.
4s and 5s, and there was a lot of damage.
Yeah. So I got ahead. There were a few things that I was like, I'm not sure about in that game. Like the rupture was questionable.
Which the binate rupture?
The binate rupture was questionable.
Yeah,
I'm ahead, so maybe it'll work, and then it almost bit me in the ass.
You were up 2 keys to 0.
I know. I don't know. I was like, I can play it. I have the synergy. It'll get me reasonably ahead, and like I had.
You had the cutthroat.
I had a lot of I had a cutthroat, but I had other amber generating effects, and I'm like, it'll be fine. And I discarded the graph earlier in the game.
Yeah.
But like, and so like it was probably, but
No,
it was like
you-
it was either play it or discard it, right? Because I was not gonna hold it anymore.
I think you played a very risky play, but you
Yeah.
had the supporting arguments for you were
Right.
2 keys ahead. You were it got your cutthroat research off, and it put you to like 10 amber or something ridiculous.
Yeah, it put me ahead, and like I'm pretty confident in my deck's ability to like control the board pretty well. So, but yeah, then so I went like up really high, and I know you guys probably could hear this, but he like starts his turn, and then he says shadows, and I'm like, too much to protect, and he says no, and I'm like, I'm fine, and then he's like, play all these cards, you're not forging anymore, and I was like, oh no.
He took you to 6 and then played miasma, and we're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
At least he had the miasma.
Yeah.
But like, you almost played at the end of the game there. You almost botched it too. So we were talking about it. We were like, okay, you're not playing into Psychic Network, you're playing out of Key Abduction.
I played into Cutthroat Research, which I thought about as soon as I made that 8th Amber.
Playing into Cutthroat Research is okay because there's nothing that can take you off of
Except for his
8.
Legacy Dexter.
Except for Legacy Dexter.
I was like,
Which,
oh my god.
the magic of sealed, you don't know what's coming.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, you played well. You made risky plays. They almost didn't work. They paid off. You almost lost to a Chaos Portal on a coin flip.
That's true. I did almost lose to a Chaos Portal on a coin flip. Well, and he also he caught himself not archiving the Ronnie, because he could have think drone the Ronnie, and he caught himself not doing that. I was
And
like,
then the
oh, yeah, that would've
Proliferator.
been good. Yeah.
Because the Proliferator has to be on a flank.
Right.
So he could have gotten.
And he could have used the Proliferator.
He could have gotten his hypnotic command back from the beginning of the game.
Yep.
That would have.
Yeah, I
Well,
did.
if that happened, then you fight into him.
Yeah, almost lost to a coin flip.
But you didn't.
And so here's one of the things I want to ask you, because you're watching the game, you're good at this game.
You can watch it back.
I can. But so I was thinking about the Exhume target, and I'm like, what do I get with Exhume? And I was like,
Let me see your deck. Do you have it?
Yeah.
Because I remember you chose the Grok.
Yeah, I chose Rogue, and it was like I was thinking about Calfine. I actually thought about Igor, just to like give myself maybe look for options and I don't know. But I was pretty sure there wasn't anything really left in my deck to look for. So
one thing that happened is I'll answer your question first. I like the Grok play because you were hedging into having another turn, right? I didn't consider the Igor. I think that's a good option too. My other consideration was the Mind Lock.
Yeah.
And I don't think that does anything in this situation.
not really.
But
Especially he had Mother Gun, so
it's removal.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's
right?
doable.
So I think Igor is a fine target. You could have gotten the Titan mechanic back, I guess.
I thought the Titan mechanic was being a little greedy because that like has potential to do
Was
stuff.
this an
for him.
option?
Yeah, it was an option.
Helper bot was in there.
But like,
No.
so it was funny though because the helper bot wouldn't have been good to exhume in that circumstance because he didn't know this, but like when he subtle mauled me, I had 5 discards and 1 logos card, and he hit the logos card. so like the exhume for the helper bot wouldn't have done anything because I had no cards left.
Yeah.
But like so it normally would be a consideration, but like not in that particular circumstance. But yeah, no, I think like
I think
the bid at rupture play was like very
Like,
questionable.
Getting the Groke is fine. I was not mad at that choice. Yeah, I think the only scary thing was when you fought into all those guys, and Mars Needs Amber is a weird card.
Oh, that's another thing too. Is like, yeah, do I just reap 3 or do I like clear his board? And I'm like, if he has fewer tools when I don't know what he has, so
Yeah.
And I honestly I did not think about Mars Needs Amber.
Neither did I.
Yeah, and I was like, oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he would have had the mother gun for. No, he didn't because he was in Logos. But yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
crazy game.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty. I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
because I was like in the driver's seat and then like very not,
Like-
very
like-
quickly.
Definitely worth going back and watching that and
Yeah.
checking for that. But like,
I mean, like,
excellent play by you and by
Thank
Mark.
you.
Yeah,
no, he
really
played
good,
well.
Good play all around.
and like his one like significant mistake, which was like the Think Drone Ronnie play, like he definitely caught it on his own afterwards. So it's like, yeah, kudos to him.
Yeah, and to me it was the proliferator play.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
his archive was also pretty big most of the game.
Yep.
And it looks like you were quick, you had this really resilient board, and I was happy with how you leveraged your position.
All right.
Congratulations. Good luck to you in the last round.
Yeah. Let's
Joe-
see if we can not choke.
We'll I'll update you guys and everyone to see if Joe makes it to day 2. He has to go 5-1, which means he can't lose this next game. So if you go 3-2 in this round, you don't make it to this game, the next round, which segues me nicely into my next interview. Come on over here, buddy. All right, I don't know the story on this. I just know the punchline. Daniel, what's your record?
3-2.
3-2. Yeah. How did that happen?
I mean, so the other game that I lost, that was a bit of a high roll. You can live with it. This game, I was like I was like gonna pop a blood vessel with what happened.
Tell me about it.
So what ends up happening is like the dude just keeps top decking 1 discard at a time.
From what?
Like he'll play like 1 discard and pass, and it was like terrible turns, but the 1 discard's like the perfect card he needs.
Like what?
So the first one he got was like he exhumed to steal when he already had a couple discards.
Yeah.
And then I clear his board, and then he hits me with a top decked Onyx Knight.
Oh no! That wipes all
then-
odd creatures?
Yeah, but it was like all my board. Like my board
What a
was like,
weird card.
And then there was like something else where they would like top decked it, and I was like, whatever. And then because also he'd like previously Hysteria'd, and he did like a weird Hysteria play where he Hysteria'd and then didn't replay one of his disc creatures. So he drew less cards and still had a shitty card. So when I then board wiped him, it actually worked out for him because I had Be Gone.
Oh, you had Be Gone, the
But
Sanctum
I was like,
disc
okay, well,
wipe.
he just cleared his whole board, replays his guys, keeps 1 discard back, which is like the imp that says when you you stun yourself.
Ambergun.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a
So-
card. I would pitch that, but he
So
kept
his
it.
basic plan was, I'm gonna call this again next turn, reap twice, and then play it. Right.
Oh.
That was his plan. So I wiped him, and I'm like, that's a terrible move.
Okay.
Well, it's not a terrible move if the card you top deck is the Exhume.
Oh
then
no.
And then it becomes a better move if the next card you top deck is the Onyx Knight to repair your board
Okay,
state.
so but how did you lose?
Oh, so after that, and like I eventually recover and I build a board, and then he hits me with the Spirit's Way
Oh.
at like the worst time. And then
Oh,
I have to
okay.
recover from that, and I finally have a path to win. And then he rips the Life for a Life. Like,
Okay, so he had removal tools.
yeah, but
This doesn't sound like an Amber game. This sounds like a board state control game.
no, he was gaining Amber at the same time
Of
when he was
course,
doing it.
but-
But it was like one of those things where they just happened to fall at the right times. Because you could see, like, there were a couple times where I saw the card go directly here, and like he wouldn't move his hand. And then you just see it's that card played. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
That's
That just
too
happened.
bad. That's like that's a very salty loss there.
Oh, it was bad. It's all right. I can commentate on this next one. So,
No. You should play out your last game.
oh no, I dropped. I can't.
Dropped? Okay, so guys,
Yeah.
we're gonna have a great commentary next game. You guys should be hyped. It's gonna be I think I'm gonna get the Team SAS guys playing. It's gonna be me and Kiramode. We're gonna be going back and forth. It's gonna be great. Stick around for it. You got anything else to say before we move on?
No, that's it.
All right.
Yeah, it's all right.
All right. Well, good luck to everyone else. Good luck to Joe. Good luck to everyone else. I'm gonna go find out what's going on. Peace. All right, we are coming back. We have 2 members of Team SAS. So this is going to be a spicy matchup. Also, we have Kiramode here commentating with us. Kiramode, say hi.
Hi, this is Sad Mode commentating.
Sada mode.
Yeah, I mean, we've got 2 SAS guys. I'll probably have to ask Colby exactly what their records are. But there's a good chance that this is a win and in situation where if they're both 4-1, one of them gets bounced, and they're both friends, which is kind of unfortunate. But if they're 5-0, they're basically playing for a bye. Hey, what are the records?
These are both 4-1.
Oh, okay. Who do you think out of these 2 cares more to make it into the cut?
That's actually a funny thing. I'll talk about that in 1 second. I'll be right back.
Side note, so for those that don't know, so Team SAS, their new logo, their new jerseys are phenomenal. Like the last ones were, regular T-shirts, like kind of like everybody else, but now they got like real, like kind of soccer-looking jerseys. They got an upgraded logo. They got a nice like color scheme where it cuts in the middle. It's really nice.
They got it from the same place we got ours.
Oh yeah, I guess
the Cuello jersey.
Yeah.
This one. They got it from the same guys.
Hey,
But
good for them.
they did a great job.
It looks great. They went with a different design than we did, which is fine. Like I just felt like I wanted to do it big with ours,
No, they're 8 people deep in this tournament, and so I was just talking to Eric, and Eric was really wanting Alvin to get day 2. Like Eric actually thinks that Alvin's a really good player. I've never seen Alvin play. I've never met the guy, but he really thinks that Alvin has what it takes to get day 2, and now Alvin has to beat Eric to get day 2. And Eric is not backing down in any way.
Nor should he.
Yeah.
I mean, so their team as a whole gets notoriety regardless of which one makes it.
True.
But you still have to play for yourself on some level.
No, they both want to win. I want Eric to win the whole tournament, but that's just me. I think Eric's a great player, and can absolutely take it all the way. Shout out to their tokens. They're both playing with luxury tokens. Who sponsors them? And they are gorgeous looking tokens. And they just got a couple new ones from armor tokens that are like 2 armor.
I see.
You'll see them, but you'll see that they're both very blinged out in their gameplay.
Meanwhile, some of us still rocking our Star Wars LCG tokens.
Oh yeah, we're very blinged out in Star Wars LCG tokens. That's where we are.
They transfer over, dude.
They're just numbers. They're
Very clear 3s, which is a big deal. Versus like those coins where it's like, is that a 5 or a 1? I don't know. It's just whatever you choose.
No one uses those coins.
A sad number of people do. All right, so it looks like Alvin is on the draw and Eric's on the play. So, what houses is Alvin playing? I don't see his Archon card.
Yeah, I'll have it scoot over.
I mean, we'll find out soon enough. But
Oh, I'm sorry. These are actually reversed. Alvin's on the other side. That was almost bad.
All right, so Eric goes first. Dominator. Nice.
Yeah, Eric is playing. It's Mars something. We'll find out.
Yeah. So like, we'll find out.
Yeah. My camera's a little bit messed up at this point, but we're gonna roll with it for the rest of the day.
So Alvin has a bit of an awkward hand. It's on a 2-2-2.
The Binding Irons early. I don't love that play.
I mean, look, it's not great, but it's not terrible. I don't love any of his plays he had. I think if I were choosing, I'd probably go Sanctum just because I'd want bodies on the board, and his guy can't kill anything.
Right.
So, when you go with the discharge doesn't actively impact the board state, and in AOA Seal in particular, you really need to start working on the board. Not too loud.
Yeah. So Eric I guess playing Sir Mer, like early games positioning. I like the turn 1 taunt. The hollowed shield's actually going to come in real relevant, I think.
Oh yeah, for sure. And now we're looking at 2 different copies of Grey Rider that can't do anything.
Really? Does he have 2 Grey Riders in hand?
Yeah, but what is he gonna do? Like, if you're ready and fight, they just have to fight at a Dominator. So you can't act. I mean, you can do it, but the Dominator is just gonna kill your guys. So you're actually better off just playing the Grey Riders naked, and then just hoping you draw kill spells later.
Yeah, that's too bad. That's a good combo that isn't gonna hit. And what happens there? Is he fighting the traitor in? He fights
That's a mistake.
I wonder why he did that. That's a strange play.
Okay, maybe he has what's it called? Save the pack. That's the only way that play makes sense.
Exhume, maybe? Is he trying to bring it back? Does he? Oh, he wants the Grey Rider on the edge to fight with somebody else. Maybe he played it out of order.
No,
Strange play.
I'm gonna assume that he has a save the pack somewhere in the deck, and he just knows that's his best route to kill the Dominator. But he's already in trouble. And
Oh, I see.
And this is where playing that disc turn 1 is not looking so good. Like if you play the Sanctum turn 1, your turn's probably just smoother.
Yeah, where does Alvin go from here? I mean,
I think you got to play that Untamed turn. So he has a Dust Witch, and the big thing about Dust Witch here is that Eric's almost certainly not going to call Sanctum next turn, and then he doesn't have anything actively showing in the other houses that can actually let him kill the Dust
no,
Witch.
if the Dust Witch comes down, he definitely calls Sanctum no matter what.
Yeah, but then his turn is just fight twice and pass. Like, that's a good turn for him.
I see.
And he's going to get... Oh, okay. Never
Okay,
mind.
so he goes for the Gongoozle Mind Barb play.
Not a fan. I just also like you're behind. So when you're behind, you need to try to make plays that can really impact the board state.
Yeah, that doesn't do a ton.
Because also, like, if you full moon into 2 bodies, that gets you 2 amber. You still have big tree on the board, and if he just spends his entire Sanctum turn to fight the Dust Witch, that's perfectly fine. Meanwhile, I think Eric, he's got to be building up towards a hand because he's been playing some really, really slow turns here and hasn't really done anything. So it just makes you think he's crafting something, or he just has like just horrendous draws so far.
Huh. Yeah, I don't quite know what Eric is building towards. Okay, so it is
So
shadows. Discards Swindle and does nothing. Maybe he just has a garbage hand.
Yeah,
he's not building towards anything.
He could just have really, really bad hands.
This is the sort of thing where Eric's gonna come after and say, "Oh, I just drew so bad in the early game," and I go, "Eric, you were fine." I think he's fine here.
Yeah, he's fine mostly because I don't think Alvin's putting any pressure on him.
Right. He's actually run a lot of his creatures into this Dominator. Why didn't he Gongoozle the Armor Smith? That's a good target.
I think he just wanted to get the discard, right? Because Eric's already on 5 cards.
But who
so then
cares
it gets
about
down
the
to 4.
discard?
I mean, some people care about that. I don't really care about that, but
Yeah,
I understand why people do.
yeah, okay. So that Gongoozle is only supposed to hit for 2 because of for 1.
Yeah.
Because of the Armor Smith. Yeah. Confirmed.
Yep.
But yeah, they're both playing kind of weird. I don't know what we're playing towards. You know.
Now, here's an interesting question. Do you like the Yahtzee gang not getting the taunt protection?
Oh, you're right. Yeah, I know. I like that play.
Yeah, I like it too. I think that
it has an armor.
There's probably going to be way better Mars targets to put next to that taunt that you're going to want later.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing even that Mind Worm that got discarded that could have landed next to it.
So the good thing here is Eric still can't really pressure too much, although he has 2 more cards in hand than he didn't have before, so he can more reliably call Sanctum.
Okay,
That feels terrible.
Alvin draws the Gateway. The Hypno Beam?
He stole the Dust Witch.
It's fine. Alvin found a gate. Oh no! But then the Dust Witch is active.
Yeah.
Oh no! You think Eric knew about
The
You think
Hypno
Eric? No, Eric knew about the Dust Witch because they're on the same team. They've probably been chatting.
Possibly. He doesn't know that he has it though, right?
But that seems like a good way to keep the Dust Witch around. Yep, and then the tree doesn't hit you back because it only hits for 2, and you have 2 armor.
Big tree, big dead, big sad.
Big sad tree. It's fine.
The
though.
unlock gateway is very clutch here because also you have a library, so you can archive. You archive probably the creature in Sanctum. Play
Yeah.
out the rest of your cards. I don't think you play Banish. Like I don't want my. Oh, actually, you archive the Dust Witch because it goes to your own archive.
How?
He has a Banish in his hand, so you can say I'm going to banish your Dust Witch.
Oh.
Goes to my archive, and then instead of archiving the Sanctum guy, you archive the
Song of the Spring?
Untamed card.
Yeah, there it is. Oh yeah, this is the ruling where if it goes into an out-of-play zone, it goes to their owner's out-of-play zone. Very
Yep.
good play. That's the ruling.
Yep.
If you want to call Carson, we can. Yeah, no, that's the ruling because it's Alvin's card.
Yep.
Is it Alvin or Alvin? It's Alvin. I can see the
Yeah.
back of his shirt.
Yeah, there's cards that enable, like, there's like certain Mars cards that say I capture your stuff into my archives, but it specifically does that.
Yes.
As a baseline rule, when you archive, it's always your own stuff.
Yep. What did he archive at his hand? The Song of the Spring.
Yeah,
so-
that's the move. Right?
What a
You-
good
you,
play.
You get two Untamed cards. Yeah, you dump the other ones, and then boom.
I think he held the Anguish though.
No, he held on to a Sanctum card.
No, he held the Anguish.
Well,
Strange.
yeah,
he
that's
discarded
wrong.
the Amber Imp.
Well, okay, so the case for holding the Anguish is if that's like your only form of key control. Like if you just are very low on key control, you might just have to hold it.
He's got a Lash out.
I mean, we don't know the rest of his deck. I would have not have folded, but
I don't know.
I'm trying to make the case. you know?
I know, right? Is there a world where he goes dis again this turn?
He has 2 discards, so I think he had a Binding Irons and an Anguish. So his turn is archive a Untamed
Untamed.
card, play an Anguish, Binding Irons. Like his last turn doesn't look as bad anymore.
He has to draw. Does he even draw an Untamed card?
He
has
drew 1 Untamed card, which is good. So then his next turn could be 3 Sanctum cards. This actually worked out for him.
Dust Witch is in Alvin's archive along with Song of the Spring that he
Yep.
also archived on the library.
Yeah, so he has 2 Untamed cards in there, so he can build up a really, really nice Untamed turn. And ideally what you do is you play the disc turn here, archive away the Untamed card, and then start playing your Sanctum cards so you can try to
Yeah.
control his board a little bit, so that way when your Dust Witch comes down, it's actually pretty safe.
There's also this Golden Aura card that, okay, this is the second Binding Irons that Alvin's played.
Yep.
They're capped at 2 in a deck, but that's still gross.
Yeah, you got them both early.
Yeah, this is a little rough.
Eric's not in a bad spot, though. Like, he has a Sanctum Guardian that can trade into the Anguish and not die.
Sure. But
Ooh,
do you want to trade into an Anguish?
I want to kill it.
Yeah,
Oh, actually not even trade. I forgot he has the Hollowed Shield.
very good.
So he just murders and then gets an Amber for the Reap.
Very good. Yeah, that's the whole turn. That's one play. Yeah, the Hollowed Shield is still there. Huh.
Yeah, you can't quite see it on the screen. He kind of has it off to the side, but we know it's there.
Yeah. I'm gonna have him move that in a little bit.
All right. So yeah, you definitely have to go Sanctum here. You got too many cards here. Unfortunately, the Golden Aura doesn't do anything, but
It was
whatever.
gonna do something on the Anguish.
Yeah, but you still have to play Sanctum here. Like when you have 4 cards.
Oh yeah, and then he's building up for a monster Untamed turn.
Yep.
Unless you're trying to get all that value on the Dust Witch, these don't seem like that important cards to get that sort of value on. Nature's Call is strong. Where do you target the Nature's Call on Eric's
Oh,
guys?
did he draw it?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Alvin's got a very strong.
I would
Untamed
target it
turn.
on the taunt guys.
Yeah. Like you can leave that Knuckles bolt, and I'm not upset about that.
Yeah,
guy being on the
Knuckles
board.
is whatever.
You target it on the guys that want to turn off your Dust Witch.
Yeah, so I think the way you do it here is because you're going to call Untamed next turn, right? What you do is you take out 2 Shadows guys and 1 Sanctum guy. So he can't double attack into the Dust Witch, and that way he has to have removal. And we just saw him, he played a sack of coins, so that's 1 less removal card he has to worry about. So what I would do is I would personally take out Sanctum Guardian needs to go, Umbra needs to go, and then I'd probably take out Knuckles Bolton. And then from there, I'd be like, okay, now all you have is you have the taunt guy that has Hazardous 4, and then also Bad Penny. which just like perfectly opens the door for a really big Dust Switch turn. Alright, but let's see if he picks up Archives. Like to me, this feels like an auto play because you just have so much potential value built in to this Untamed turn because it gets you to 6. So you could just put so much pressure in that you can put yourself or put your opponent in check and also clean off their board and also threaten a big Dust Switch. And look, he has a Mighty Tiger too. So there's actually a version of this where he Mighty Tigers to kill probably the Umbra, and then you send back both of the Sanctum guys and the Knuckles, so leaving them only with Bad Penny.
That sounds like a good turn. I like that plan.
Yeah, I don't know what he's thinking about here though. Maybe he's just thinking like how he's gonna do it. Wait, you gotta pick up the Archives though. It looks like if he no.
Oh, no.
No.
Is there a world where he doesn't?
No. Did he just forget?
He did just forget.
Maybe he forgot that like the whole reason you'd want to do this is to get the Dust Switch, right?
Is he realizing? Oh, I don't know what's going on.
Okay, for some reason he's targeting the taunt guy.
He's gonna Nature's Call his own guy? He's Mighty Tiger again?
Probably Nature's Call. So he's probably thinking Nature's Call his own Mighty Tiger, bounce back Sanctum Guardian, bounce back Umbra, and then replay the Mighty Tiger to kill off the taunt.
This feels like a misplay, right? Like,
oh, it's awful. He has the Dust Switch right there in his archive. And also he has 2 more Untamed cards in there that can get him Amber.
Wow. This just feels like a massive misplay. And he picked up the Mighty Tiger again to kill the taunt guy. I think he just like palmed his. I think he just realized he didn't grab his archive. Does he care? He held
a Untamed guy for some reason.
I have no idea what Alvin's game plan is.
He might just be tilted. It might be one of those things where he realized he forgot his archives.
No. I don't think so. I think he's at 6 Amber and he's fine with that.
Yeah, but you have another Untamed guy, like either play it or discard it.
Yeah, I really don't know.
I think what it was is I think he had the plan to play the Dust Switch, and I think he just, once he realized he didn't pick up his archives, he just got rattled and then finished his sequence and then forgot that he had another Untamed guy in his hand and then just passed and then drew and chained himself.
Man, I really don't know.
But I mean, he's still ahead, like in spite of all that.
Like that's why I'm not hitting him too hard for this play. Like he is still ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more of a process over results kind of person, and you know, I kind of think about it more about like, okay, are the decisions you're making the types of decisions that will win games long term, or is shit just working out because things are just working out for you? And it kind of feels like right now things are just working out for him.
Huh.
All right, so Eric had a nice little turn, right? He replayed his Sanctum guys. Eye of Judgment. Eye of Judgment's actually not bad against Untameless. Right,
Alvin actually has Song of the Spring in his discard pile.
Oh.
And like that might not be able to recur something if it's Eye of the Judgment.
Yeah, well, it also makes sure that things like Soldiers to Flowers doesn't hit you, right? So if you get a couple of those Eye of Judgments, it makes that card a lot less impactful.
Did Alvin even forge his first key? Right? It's now...
Yeah.
Side note, I have confirmation that Joe from our round 4 game is in day 2. Congrats to Joe. But yeah, this game is
always good to see one of our own make it.
This game is scrappy.
Yeah.
Right? I think it feels like they're still battling for position when one of them could be pushing a little bit harder.
I mean, Eric has 5 Amber.
Alvin could be pushing harder, I think.
Yeah. Well, if he had that Dust Switch out, he'd be pushing a hell of a lot harder.
Hold on. He's got this Witch of the Wilds, right? Yeah. Maybe that's reason enough to hold these other cards.
I mean, no, the not playing the Dust Switch, there's no reason to hold that.
Yeah, I'll be asking him about this later. I really don't know. So, okay, where do we go from here? What does Eric need to do to get back into this game or to put this back into his favor?
I think Eric... I haven't seen anything from his deck. Like, every turn he's had has been 1 or 2 card turns. I think this is like the first 3 card turn I've seen him have. So
and two of them were from Nature's Call?
Yeah. Now, part of that is that he got Binding Irons twice.
Yep.
But I mean, it's been from the start. He just hasn't really had much. So I don't really know what his deck can do here. Like I don't know what he's trying to work for.
What I'm trying to figure out is Alvin misplaying?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Or does he have a plan? There might be some sort of plan where he has a Legacy Hunting Witch or something. What, like a full moon play?
I mean, every one of those plays is better if you have one more Amber on the table and you have a Dust Witch on the table. Like that's just a blatant misplay. And then as for the creature he held in his hand, I have to believe that he got rattled.
I have no idea what, but he's staring right at it. There's a reason he held it, 100%. I don't know what that reason is. I can't defend it.
Yeah, we'll have to ask him about it. Be like, hey man,
much wanna know.
why'd you hold the snake thing? What's the guy? He's like Hazardous 3, Assault 3.
Yeah, he's got this Grey Rider, so he could play it and then Grey Rider it.
Yep.
Because of Dusk Witch, but he doesn't do that. He just plays Grey Rider and has the Mighty Tiger attack.
I mean, the Sanctum Guardian is pretty big.
And kill himself.
But it would be nice if you would have said, okay, I'm going to Witch of the Wilds, get the Assault guy, and then go kill your Knuckles Bolton,
He
who
could have
has
done that
elusive.
same play with Nox and not be dead.
Yep. Yeah,
Right?
there's a way where you play Nox. He has 9, murders a Sanctum Guardian.
Right? There are ways
Yeah.
that exact same play happens and he's not dead. So maybe it's Song of the Spring related? I don't know.
Or maybe he just forgets that Witch of the Wilds works. Right. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no. Oh, that.
I'm very confused.
All right. Well, I mean, it happens.
And he doesn't even play the
Yep.
Radiant Truth first.
Yep.
The Radiant Truth has to come first.
I feel bad. Like, we're just bashing Alvin now, but, like, these are some bad plays. And, look, we can't see Eric's hand. I think part of the reason we're bashing Alvin's plays is we can see his hands and be like, what are you doing?
No, I can bash his plays no matter what. Radiant Truth should have Bad Penny stunned. But now, it won't. Also, Alvin is fighting far more than he is reaping. Which, you know I don't like that.
I mean, the fighting's defensible. I think here, though, if you're in for a penny, in for a pound, gotta kill the penny, too.
He's not in for the penny.
I mean, as far as fighting goes.
He didn't even stun the penny.
He has a guy there, just kill the penny.
I know.
Send it back to your hand. Be like, here's
There
a
it
chain.
goes.
Alright.
Capture an Amber.
Is that the okay, that is a dude. Yeah, he missed the capture. Okay, looks like they fixed the board state. I mean, the guy's gonna die in a little bit anyways. He only has 2 health.
This
Yeah.
line of play by Alvin. Okay, there's a key charge. Does that do anything?
Hey, how about that snack lefter to take the lash?
Ooh. And there's no disc in his house, so it becomes shadows. That's also very good. Okay, look,
Ooh.
here's a note. It's round 6. These
Yep.
guys have been playing all day. Maybe they're actually fatigued. Maybe this is an endurance match. Like legit. That might be what it is. This might be an endurance thing.
Okay, so Eric did something I actually don't like here. He discarded the bad penny. So normally I like discarding bad penny. I don't like discarding bad penny if you already have 4 other Shadows creatures. Because having the 5th Shadows creature means you could just declare Shadows every single turn until your opponent deals with it.
Interesting.
Because like his board is dirty. Like he can reap with the guys. He has a couple skirmish dudes to kill off things like Grey Rider or whatever without punishment, and he can Umbra fight. Like all of his skirmish guys are nice. If you also had a bad penny in there to reap, that's a nice setup that he has there.
Or you can reap for 5.
Yeah.
It's bigger number than 4.
Now
also,
he's
small
probably just
note,
afraid of the chains. He's
Von-
been drawing lower cards. Like I think he just doesn't want to have his draws compromised anymore. So I get it, but I disagree with that. But that's really the first thing that I think I've seen Eric do where I'm like, hold on, buddy, you got to do something different than that.
And I mean, at least he has a big turn now, right?
Yeah.
We've been waiting for Eric's big turn. We're waiting for Eric to get a key, and looks like he's not going to do that. The charrette. Like, is Eric's deck just not pulling through for him? Double library out of Alvin? Okay.
Feels good.
Okay, I take everything back. Alvin has a plan. He's going to archive all of his Untamed cards and do something wacky. Here he goes. He's holding 4 Untamed cards, and he archives.
Did we see a full moon earlier
We did.
out of Alvin?
And now he's about to shuffle.
So if the plan is we're gonna full moon into 8 dudes or whatever,
Does he have a Maverick Legacy battle fleet that works on Untamed? I don't know.
I mean, if your plan is full moon into like a big key charge or something, that's not bad.
But Alvin does lose the second library, which is a big hit.
Yeah, it feels bad.
Mothership support for nothing.
Yep.
Here comes a Resonator, which is great. How did Eric get through his deck?
You mean Alvin?
Alvin.
I mean, he's had the opportunity to draw cards. He's had the archive from the Library of the Damned.
Huh.
But Eric's board looking really sweet right now.
At what point do you just go back to Shadows?
Probably last turn.
Yeah, I think last turn, like that was a good turn with the. I guess Charette, killing Charette with Exterminate, with the. What is that nuke card? Not Exterminate.
I mean, what I would have done is I would have been like, Umbra fights into Charette, puts 2 damage on it. You get a steal off it, and then you reap with the other guys, and now you're at like 8 or whatever. It also hedges against like Doorstep, potentially.
Sure.
You know, so you don't like get up to 10. Like you're still in range where you're probably gonna forge, but then you have like 3 sitting on Charette to deal with. But again, that's a play that makes more sense if you already have the bad penny, because you're getting that 1 extra amber. At 4, it's not as clear cut.
I wonder if Alvin's gonna play Untamed ever.
Maybe
or
not.
Does he like if he has a plan where he holds Untamed for a while? To some.
There we go. Okay, now he's picking up his archives.
Big archives.
Yeah. I don't think he has a way to protect his Dust Switch though.
He
like
doesn't
he
have
had
to.
like he had on previous turns.
His goal is just play all the cards and not protect them. You know.
I see. So regrowth into nothing.
Charette.
Oh, Charette. Okay. I probably would have just discarded a Untamed card and regrowth that.
Why?
He only has 1 discard in his hand. I'd rather try to draw into Sanctum.
Charette's great. Okay, here's a Pampaka. I haven't seen a lot of foxes today, but skirmish.
So all the dudes got skirmish, and then a key charge. That's potato.
No key charge.
Okay, I thought he had a full moon. Looks like he did not have a full moon.
It's in his deck.
Oh, okay.
But it's not here right now. I think it's in his deck. Maybe I'm wrong. And there's that Dust Witch. Alright.
So now I think you definitely go Shadows.
Dust Witch doesn't live.
No.
Huh.
I think the move is you actually just start picking off his board, and because you have skirmish, right? So you can take out the Grey Rider, you can take out the Dust Witch, and then probably take out the skirmish fox. And if his board is just Sir Morrow's, Nox, and Fang House, you're probably okay with that.
I want the Grey Rider dead.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you use 1 skirmish guy to kill Grey Rider, another skirmish guy, kill the fox, and then use the other 2 to swing into Dust Witch.
I really wish Eric had that penny on the board. That does so much more.
Yeah, the penny takes away the elusive from the Dust Witch.
Yep. Or let's use Reap to 5, or Reap to 4 and then Umbra.
But what you need to do is you need to use a snack lefter to take care of the elusive first.
Yeah, Eric's only on 1 key. You can kind of see it. He kind of moved it over.
Yeah. So we saw him forge. Okay, so yeah, Umbra takes out the Grey Rider, which we wanted. He's taking out the elusive, popping him off with the Knuckles, and then the other Knuckles probably takes out Pampaka Anga.
Because you can't fight into the Fang House, which is kind of funny. You gotta take out the Pampaka. Right?
Yeah, definitely.
Or is there a world where he reaps for some reason? I don't mind.
I think you just fight it, because then you can't. It makes it impossible for him to call Untamed here.
Yeah.
So like the other 2 guys, while they're big, they actually aren't threatening because he'd be playing like Untamed and maybe 1 card.
Ooh, he's got Ronnie and a life for a life.
Looking good. What you do is you life for a life, get that Sir Morrow's off the board, because he's not gonna. He's gonna probably call Sanctum here, right? Because he hasn't called Sanctum in a while. Actually, he just drew a million discards.
We know that he has discards.
He doesn't. Eric doesn't know that though.
Right.
Eric has seen Alvin not call Sanctum for a long time. So taking out the Sanctum guys right board, in particular, leaving the Untamed guys, that's like the right move, because they ain't doing anything.
Yeah. And Alvin could have played those cards so much earlier. I mean, the Fang House on the turn before the Dust Witch.
Yeah.
And then the next turn he had the Dust Witch's ability. He could have played the Nox. And I don't know what that makes this turn look like. This
Another
is rough.
one.
And this is why I want to see Eric start reaping more.
Yeah, at this point though, the Binding Irons aren't as bad. Like Binding Irons, they feel a little bit worse early game when you're trying to set up. But right now, Eric can just say, I'm gonna call Shadows for a couple turns, use my board, get some Amber, And then from there, it's like, okay, well, you know, I'll shed off the chains that way. Like, if he just calls Shadows 3 turns in a row here, that gets rid of all the chains. Alright, so there's a charrette. Doesn't really do a ton, but it's a body. Although, if he plays, those two imps are both very relevant. It takes away the reaping ability, so it forces Eric to continue to need to fight for a little bit longer.
The Bloodshard Imp doesn't do anything because it gets hit with Umbra. The Amber Imp just stuns Eric's whole...
Yeah, what I'm saying
Shadow
is that,
board.
like, those two imps make it so Eric can't go, I call Shadows, I reap 5 times.
That's what I'm gonna do, though. I'm gonna hit with Umbra, and then I'm gonna reap 4 times, stun my board, and not care.
I wouldn't do that. I do care.
I'm just antsy that this game has gone on for too many turns, right? I just want to...
I mean, if you're Eric, why are you afraid of that? You have the Lash, you have the Resonator.
You have the advantage. I want it pushed. I want the Amber. I want Alvin to feel like he's in the backseat.
But his advantage is on the board. It's not on Amber. Like, once you start pushing the Amber advantage, or trying to go for that, you're not actually getting as much of an advantage as you'd want, and you give your opponent the chance to come back on the board. Right now, Eric can just keep him in a chokehold and just pushing towards victory.
Look at Eric's bodies. They're 2s and 3s. That's not a chokehold. That's there everywhere away from losing his whole board. I know that's not actually the fact, but
Yeah.
I know it's not actually the case. But with Red, okay, he does fight
No,
twice.
I think
with
Eric's
the
doing the right move. I think if Eric could have gotten to check, it's reasonable.
Does
but
Red? Okay, does
Oh,
Redlock get him
yeah.
to check?
Oh, yeah.
The Scowly Caper.
Oh, that's great.
But I don't think he gets the Amber off of Redlock, which is fine.
Yeah, you don't need it. Like, you're not going to check anyways. But now, like, Alvin's board's getting decimated, and Eric's just set up to reap, like, mass reap a couple times and win. And
That's fantastic.
It puts Alvin in a position where he has to draw Unlock Gateway or he's going to lose.
Again,
Yep.
this is the second time Alvin has been in Gateway or lose. And has Eric's about to shuffle, right?
Yeah, now this is where I think after this turn, Eric should be pushing Amber because he actually is ahead enough now, right? The previous turn he was only up, or they were tied. So pushing for Amber is not great, but now that you're up 3, if you push for Amber now with the Shadows turn, you really set yourself up. And also, you probably want to use your Shadows as much as you can just to shed the chains.
Yep.
You know, because like if you're playing like Mars, the chains feel bad, but if it's just like, oh, okay, use my big Shadows board, pass, lose a chain, that feels great. And then you set yourself up to have like a big Mars turn later.
I keep forgetting that Eric's under chains. That feels so weird. Like, it's not good to have chains in a deck where you're not expecting to put chains on yourself.
Yeah.
Ugh. How do you feel about that Resonator? Is that going to go anywhere?
When the Unlock Gateway shows up. Yeah.
That Grey Rider might just take it out, but like... Okay, Alvin has a Grey Rider in his hand right now. Who's it going to go
It
attack?
better go on that Nox. And then Nox should...
Or the Fang House.
I wouldn't take out the Resonator. I'd be taking out the Umbra. I don't want him stealing Amber every single turn. Like right now, gaining Amber is not Alvin's priority. His priority is changing the game state so he doesn't just lose in 3 turns.
Yeah, killing some Shadows guys, and that's a good call. Yeah, I like killing the Umbra, but I want to see what Alvin has made a lot of interesting choices as far as what he prioritizes in this game.
Yeah.
I want to see where his head is as far as this board state. Okay, using Nox, not the Fang House. I use the Fang House.
Yeah, that's probably better. I mean, the reason you would put the Grey Rider next to the Nox is because the Nox then becomes a 9. And I don't know if he has another Sanctum creature.
Oh, that's a big play.
Ooh.
I like the Equalize play a lot.
Yeah, put that... I'd put it probably all on Nox, honestly.
No, you spread it out.
Or you put it all on the Scally Caper. That'd actually be really funny.
That's hilarious. I do like...
Because he gets used every turn, you know?
Yeah. Oh, that's a very good play. Good Equalize.
Spreading it out's nice.
Scowly Caper to kill the Sanctum creature. Expecting to go Dismore? That's fine.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, now, what just happened there?
Nothing. What happened? The Sky Booster ran away?
Oh, he called Mars.
Yeah, he called Mars and the Sky Booster ran away.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, Shadows looks less attractive when you don't have the steal.
And I'm sure that Eric has been building up a Mars hand.
Yeah, for sure.
He has Exterminate, which is actually going to do some work here.
Exterminate. The Resonator really wishes he was a 3. Because
Yeah.
then you could kill a Grey Rider off of it.
Yeah.
Luckily, he doesn't have any 1s. So right now it's just gonna be Sky Booster says I blow up your Fang House.
Or the Grey Rider?
I might blow up Fang House. He just played Sanctum, so he's not gonna call Sanctum again. He's probably gonna call Untamed.
He's holding, what is that, Mars Needs Amber? Okay, blow up the Fang House, that's fine. Yeah, he also did kill his own trader. Anatheta the Trader, whatever her name is.
Mars Needs Amber. Yeah, so puts another one on Nox.
So we're still at 1 key to 1 key, but Eric has slowly but significantly swung this game in his favor.
Yeah. This is... Okay, he got the gateway, so he's not dead in the water now.
Alvin getting saved again, but the gateway, he doesn't have his lash anymore.
Nope.
And he has 3 captured amber, which is also bad.
I kind of like the attachment going on the Grey Rider.
That's absolutely where that goes.
Yeah, because you're gonna find a way to kill the Nox later.
Yeah. And the Grey Rider is the most value.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of the Nox, it's just a big number.
All right, so the question is, so I think what Alvin might be scared of here, because you would normally say just play the Unlock Gateway. I think he's scared of giving 3 Amber back to Eric.
I don't think we've looked through Alvin's deck at this point. He does not have that much amber control.
Yeah,
that's why he valued that Anguish on that early turn.
So the Anguish play makes more sense now, because like that's what we were wondering. Like, does he just not have any form of amber really? And the answer is he doesn't. And his one big one, the Lash, just got robbed from him and is in Shadows of all places now.
his Dis House is phenomenal. With the Charette, with the double library, with the Lash, he has the Dusk Witch. You know, he has. This, I'm sure he's been archiving a ton all day.
Now, if I'm reading Eric's Amber correctly, he's at either 8 or 9.
I think he's at 9.
So if Alvin says, I unlocked Gateway, that puts Eric at 12, and he has no form of key control. So he's actually just dead in 2 turns. He's going to have to draw into something here, and I don't know if he has any outs.
Well, he plays Dis, reaps twice on the Caper and the Charette.
Yep.
He pulls his Archive and goes Sanctum. At least he gets the Radiant Truth value this time.
Radiant Truth is good. That's actually probably better than the Unlocked Gateway, just because you're not giving your opponent 3 Amber back.
Okay, I agree with that.
So that's probably where you want that to be. The Grey Rider, I think you just accept that he's going to die, you know, and use him for something. Probably use him for reaps.
I want to see Alvin reaping more. I want to see Alvin's board. It's going to be smaller. I want him to have an amber advantage.
Yeah.
You can't be behind in amber and board.
Let's see here. And there's actually no way he can use his Grey Rider for value, because like the Grey Rider dies after it's used. It's like you can't use your Reaper fight ability.
Is that true?
Yeah. So I
think you get to resolve it and then it dies. You get to stack the triggers.
Okay, yeah, my bad. Okay,
no, you get the fight ability, but it's still not very valuable.
All right, Smite.
That's a really important kill. I've been meaning to talk about that. That Resonator needs to leave the table very soon.
Yep. I mean, you got to get to 6 before you start worrying about your keys costing more.
Right.
But Smite's fine there. I probably would have gone after the Red Lock to put 2 damage on the Sky Booster and then run my Grey Rider into the Sky Booster.
Why do you care about the Sky Booster?
I just to get rid of guys, right? The guy he got rid of was stunned. It doesn't matter.
He's gonna do more. I think he reaped.
Yep.
But he should get to attack with the Nox. Or I guess it's his choice technically.
Yeah,
so it's not a broken
Nox...
game state. So it's also a May effect. So.
All right, so Eric he's now on 2 keys. He has 3 Amber left. I think the move is you got to do anything and everything to get to 6. And I don't know if he has a board state to do that. He has 1 guy active for each house. Actually, Mars, I see 2 Mars cards with dots. So if he reaps to the Sky Booster, plays the 2 Mars cards, I think that gets it done.
He has a very strange Hypno Beam, which doesn't have great targets right now.
No, you Hypno Beam the Scowly Caper and reap with it.
That's kind of cool. Does 2 damage and kills the Nox. That's a big play.
Oh, okay, yeah. So this is a wrap right here, actually.
That's 6 Amber.
Gets him up to 7.
I don't see any Amber control in Alvin's hand. Oh, he could Nature's Call his own Charette and then not play it. He could have archived cards, but he doesn't.
No, it's over. He has no key control in his hand.
He has a Lash, which is on Eric's side of the table. There goes the Amber from the Scowly Caper.
Yeah. So yeah, this one's done. I really feel like Alvin punted this one. Like, if that Dusk Witch comes down, this is a completely different game.
I really think so.
Because if we have to rewind the tape, I don't believe in the subsequent 3 turns after that turn where he missed that. I don't think Eric had any kill spells. Like his turn after the turn that should have been the Dusk Witch turn was he just played his 2 Sanctum guys.
I don't care if he has the kill spells. Alvin has these cards that he needs to start pressuring.
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying is, okay, look, he clearly did not have the kill spell in Sanctum. I don't think he had the kill spell in the other houses. So now, not only does Alvin have this monstrous Untamed board, he also just, every creature he starts playing is just instantly gaining him an Amber off the Dusk Witch. And more, or what he could do is he could use them to fight into Eric's board to continue keeping that Dusk Witch alive and force Eric to draw into the kill spell.
Yeah, the fighting is what gets me.
And it's just like, okay, well, none of that happened because he didn't pick up your archives.
Well, congratulations to Eric. That was a good game, but a lot of questionable plays. I'm going to try to get them over here to talk about that game.
Yeah, sounds good. Anyways, as far as Eric's plays go, we couldn't see his hand. So I think we were less critical of what he was doing just because, you know, if we can't see like, oh, you should have done this, you should have done that, whereas we could very clearly see that with Alvin. But I do think that Eric, for the most part, made the right decisions. And I think one way you could look at that is I was able to call out his plays beforehand. Like, I looked at his board, and I'm like, oh, you should do this, that, and the other, and he did exactly that. Because I'm not pointing out anything that's particularly, like, genius-level intelligence. It's just like, hey, the board state says you should do this by the book 90% of the time. And, you know, Eric was doing that. And even though he got off to a slow start because of a combination of draws and the Binding Irons, we did see that once his deck started to pick up some steam, he was really able to continue putting the pressure, and he never let up, which is very, very refreshing to see that when Eric had the advantage, he seized it, whereas Alvin, when he was given the same opportunities, didn't take advantage of it. And I mean, that's why Eric's going to be going to the top cut tomorrow. Eric will be 5-1, Alvin will be 4-2, and this will put Eric in a position where we looked at the top cut. So the top cut is going to be about 28-ish. So what that means is that probably 2 or 3 people are going to get a bye, and then everyone else has to have a play-in game to get into the top 16. So he still, you know, has a little bit of work left to get into that top 16, get his deck up to power level 5. But, you know, he is one step closer to achieving that goal. Also, Eric, you know, just pretty accomplished player as is. So if he can get another Vault Tour under his belt, it'd be great. All right, but we got Alvin coming in?
Yeah, Alvin coming in. You want to talk to Alvin? Alvin,
Sure. All right, Alvin, let's move this mic so it gets both of us here. All right, so I got to ask you right out of the gate.
Yeah.
What happened with the Dusk Witch?
I forgot what happened with the Dusk Witch. Is there a way we can watch that, or like?
I mean, we can rewind the tape later.
What happened? Because I cannot think right now because like I'm running 3 hours of sleep for 2 days.
I get it.
So.
Let me
join something here real quick.
Okay, let's move the camera so we can get. Oh yeah.
Just move the camera.
There we go.
All right, Alvin, it's you and me now.
All right.
Okay, so let me walk this back for you. So you draw into. You have your deck on you?
Yes.
This will just kind of help me play back the tape for you.
Yeah.
You've got this really nice archive. You've been working on it for a little bit. You have a Dusk Witch.
I was
think
waiting
you have
on the full moon, but I think it was already in my discard pile.
Yeah, you played the full moon really early.
Yeah, I forgot about it.
Yeah, and what you did is instead of pulling this archive of the Dusk Witch and the Song of Spring, and then I think it was the Fox.
Yeah.
What you did is you didn't pull the archive. You played.
I remember that. Yep.
You played Witch of the Wilds. You played the tree. But then even a bigger question to ask, or maybe it was the Nature's Call and the tree in the Witch of the Wilds, but they both hit the table, and you held the Fang House. You just held this thing. Okay, so these are misplays. Watch back this tape and watch your green cards just sit in your hand. There were a number of them that sat in your archive and sat in your hand they were ready to come out. There was even a turn where you had the Witch of the Wilds, and you could have played yourself off house, but you ran a Mighty Tiger and your Witch of the Wilds into a taunt guy who had 6 power. You lost both of these cards, and you didn't even play off of your Witch of the Wilds. But we can confirm that we were talking about it. There was either a key charge full moon play. I was trying to give you as much credit as I could for the play, but it just started getting a little
No, but
silly.
I remember not having the full moon though. Did I have the full moon?
You had played it early, and we thought you were looking for it.
Yeah.
Which, if you were, was great. If you were trying to
Yeah.
full moon key charge. But yeah, otherwise, you were playing a good game. And the other question we had was this Anguish. You played an unlocked gateway, but you held the Anguish instead of discarding it.
I know, yeah.
And was there a reasoning behind that?
The reason is the 3 hours of sleep.
Okay, these are.
I can't think straight. I was like, I mean, the last game, I don't even know how I won the last game. I was just like, I'm on zombie mode, like just kind of like going through the motions in a way.
Well, it's clear to me, even if you're on zombie mode, that you are a good player. I know I've heard a lot about you from Team SAS.
I'm probably the least rep, like, you know, like with the game.
Have you
know,
been to any other Vault Tours?
I've been in Denver and Seattle.
Okay, cool. How'd you do at those?
I went 3-3 in Seattle. It was sealed, and then I went 3-3 in Denver.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And these are hard fields, and I know that that Eric, he's sitting over here,
Yeah.
is a tough opponent. Watch tape back. There are a couple places that you could win it, but really, this was a story of I think Eric made a lot of really good plays this game to come
yeah.
back. So thank you for talking.
Yeah. That was a lot of misplays, and I knew it coming in because I was like, I know I'm gonna make a lot of misplays. Cause
Yeah. But hey, I'm glad you're taking it with a laugh.
yeah, it's all about fun, you know. Like
I know,
mean,
right?
I'm having fun, even though I'm so tired. I'm just glad that I even went 3,
4-1.
or 4-1.
Yeah, you did
at
really
that
well.
point. So I was at that point I was just happy, and I just wanted to like, okay, whatever happens, it's like. But then we got matched like with team members
I know,
twice in
right?
a row. And that was kind of like
Let me ask Eric about this game. 'Cause
Yeah.
This was a very different game from his side of the table. Eric, here we go, and now we got Eric.
Yes.
What's up?
This is by far the least happy I've ever been after making a day 2 of anything.
You've made a lot of day 2s.
I made some.
You made a
I
lot.
made some.
I've been on day 2 with you a couple times, and
But this is by far the least fun I've ever had.
for the record, I've been pegging Eric as winning this tournament. I want him to sweep both games. I want him to sweep Archon. I want him to sweep Seal. This is his hometown. He's gonna rep it.
I mean, I appreciate the vote of confidence. I'm gonna need to high roll a lot tomorrow. I know some of the decks that are out there, so
Yeah.
we'll see. I mean, I don't know.
How do you feel about your deck, and how do you feel about your deck in that matchup?
So, Alvin had a bit of a disadvantage in this matchup, and the disadvantage was that knowing the contents of Alvin's deck was more harmful to Alvin than knowing the contents of my deck was harmful to me. We play tested this. We play tested the matchup after we had picked decks just to kind of get some practice with decks. So I knew he had a Dusk Witch. I knew he had a Key Charge. I knew he had a Nature's Call.
I called that.
So I knew he had these things.
You held the Hypno Beam, and
Absolutely.
you held the slot next
Yes.
to the Dominator
Yes.
for the Dusk Witch.
That is 100% what I did, and I was willing. There are few situations in this game that I think, and this may not even be one of them. I don't know, but there are few situations in this game where I think it is worth chaining yourself with. In that case, it was actually 2 Mars cards because I didn't call Mars and just discard the other card and not play the Hypno Beam. Right, so I'm chaining myself with 2 Mars cards for at least 3 or 4 turns at the beginning. But I know that if he lands a Dusk Witch and I can't do something with it, I probably lose.
That's hilarious.
Right, so I 100% had the Hypno Beam in opening hand with 1 other Mars card, and I said as long as I have plausible plays, right? If I have ridiculous plays, then I'm gonna have to go Mars.
You had very questionably. We thought you were just drawing like trash for the early game.
No, I wasn't drawing great, but I made an intentional decision going into the match that unless Alvin threatened a bunch of keys early, and he didn't. He threatened some keys.
You
but
were behind.
Right, I was behind. I was willing to give up as much as a key in order to ensure that I had an answer to the Dusk Witch. Right, because that is the thing that kills me, like, if he lands it in the match.
I got a question from the peanut gallery.
Sure.
All right.
Here comes the peanut gallery. My camera doesn't go over this far.
That's fine. All right. So the question I have is, there was a situation. So you Hypno Beam his Dusk Witch.
Yes.
Right. He then puts the Dusk Witch in his own archives.
Yes.
Now there was a turn where he plays Untamed, doesn't pick up his archives, and bombs your board.
I thought that was a mistake.
Now here's
Which
my
we
question.
can confirm now that it was.
Here's my question.
Like because I
right.
saw that happening in real time. I know he has an Untamed archive.
Yeah. Okay. So here's my question. Let's say He picks up his archive. Let's say that the other cards don't matter.
Yeah.
He plays the Dust Switch.
Yeah.
In that scenario, do you have any answer? Because you did not have an answer on the board.
I have to. The problem is I'd have to go back.
Because your turn was you went Sanctum, and
Yeah.
your turn was you replayed your Sanctum guys that got Nature's Call.
Yes.
And then you played like a Sanctum artifact.
Hedgeroth's wall.
Right.
No, the eye.
Yeah, or something. So
I
it's
don't know if I did that. I might have had. I'm trying to remember. I might have had Mothership support in hand. I don't remember if I did though.
You
my
did
memory,
eventually,
My
but you
memory is
didn't have-
notoriously not great when it comes to like recreate turn 4 of the-
Mothership support. You didn't have any Mars guys at that time.
Right.
No, there. If you
I think that's correct. I'll certainly look back on the stream,
Please,
but
please go watch back and watch this tape.
Yeah.
There was absolutely a window for this Dust Witch to come down and do work.
I assumed that Alvin. I mean, Alvin is a very good player. I love the guy. I assumed it was probably a mistake, but I didn't know there could have. It's interesting. This is sealed, but again, because we practiced together, I know the contents of his deck. I didn't think there was a lot that would maybe make sense to keep the Dusk Witch in R-Type, but I didn't know if he archived other things that were useful and he considered it not worthwhile to pull them. I don't know.
We were equally confused, and honestly, there's a world where if I'm playing you in that scenario, I don't take it just to mess with you.
Well, listen, that's entirely possible.
Anyway,
Alvin's a fun-loving guy. He usually doesn't engage in chicanery, but
I'm happy with how that game went. It was still a fun game to watch, fun game to play. Congratulations, Eric, for making day 2. We'll be streaming all day, probably right here by the Destiny crowd and way far away from the Keyforge. But we made it happen. We've been streaming for 3.5 hours now for 3 rounds or whatever. It's a whole thing. We'll be streaming tomorrow. Come say hi. I'll be making posts online. Congratulations to everyone who plays. Does anyone else have any comments? Kiramode, what do you got to say? You gonna be streaming with me tomorrow, or are you gonna play L5R?
I know 5R.
Okay, so
don't worry. I'm gonna get knocked out in round 1. I'll come stream with you after that.
All of our old Star Wars people are
Because
in
my
there.
deck. I'm predicting right now my deck's not going past the first round tomorrow. But
I think Colleen was saying that she would be happy to be on stream
well
tomorrow.
then I'm just saying. I'm
I've
throwing
been
that out
happy.
there.
I think I want to get Colleen on stream because she doesn't like being streamed on day 1.
You should do that.
She's a fantastic player. I remember from.
There's a world where I scrub out super hard in L5R because all these charged bird decks are.
If you're playing an L5R day, then you're gonna hang out with your L5R friends and do L5R things, and then we're gonna be here casting Keyforge after Eric loses round 1. But Kiramode's here. He'll be wearing the shirt. He'll be here for support. Anyway, thanks again to everyone who's been around, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks a bunch.